So you want to do like some like sound checks to make sure? Is that what you do or no? Or...
Yeah, very.
Okay.
Unofficial. Give me a sound check.
Okay. I'm just going to talk a little bit.
Yeah, sound great.
Okay. We look a little funny and,
This is it.
Cool. I'm excited.
I'm excited.
Mm-hmm.
I need my drink.
Of course. We need drinks. It's only 3:00 in the afternoon. But...
I got to remember to look you in your eyes. This is...
Okay.
I'm going to like revert back to like such shyness, I think, and like have to look away at times. This is going to be hard. Okay, so...
Yeah. Go ahead.
When this started, right?
Sure.
The idea of like doing a podcast with like people that I wasn't friends with, but also people that like I like came across was really, really interesting. So,
Okay.
right, I've got like, the top 6 list, which like Lizzie was on and Eric and Holly and some other people and probably 3 others to be specific. But
Sure.
But the other thing was like, oh man, like I also thought about before calling the show, we weren't friends in high school. I thought about just calling it Awkward City.
Okay.
Because I just thought, wow, I could imagine like sitting across from crushes and being like, so I had this crush on you. Did you know? And I thought, how fucking awkward and somewhat self-centered maybe. But
Okay.
that was always like the other half of this podcast was like, how weird would it be? And up until now, really, I haven't been able to be face to face with a crush. So
so I'm one of those. Oh.
You're one of those.
All right.
You know you're one of those.
Do I?
Don't you?
No.
Did Paige not tell you?
No, not really. She just said you wanted to have me on the podcast.
So I thought Paige told you that that you were a crush. Okay,
No.
I'm trying to think of. I thought of like 9 different ways of how to start this.
Okay.
But I'm not going to do any of them. One of them was to like just start asking questions like, how long have you been this pretty? And like things like that.
You're going to just make me blush the whole time. Okay.
I guess we should start there.
Okay.
Awkward
I have
City.
a funny story. So if you want to start there on that avenue. One of the things I remember about you, and I think it was probably in 4th or 5th grade, I went home crying from school one day. All right. And you were really mean to me or something. I had to deal with that.
Something.
I don't remember. I mean, I just remember crying to my mom. And my mom saying, when boys are mean to you, it's because they have a crush on you. Not joking. I have told that story to so many people in avenues of explaining things of, I don't know why I would have said it, but I had to deal with somebody else being upset or this person's being so mean to me. I was like, they probably have a crush on you. That's what my mom told me back in the day.
And I taught you that lesson.
You did. Well, I mean, you started the lesson. My mom taught it to me. But yes, it originated from probably 4th grade because I'm pretty sure we had class together in 4th grade.
Yeah.
By the way, I remember nothing. I have a really horrible memory. I pulled out my yearbook to try to like
refresh.
Found my Shady Grove yearbook, my 6th grade, 7th. I have them all. My mom had them all. Put them in my basement. But my husband told me it was cheating, and and I didn't look at anything then.
Oh.
Other than he read through a bunch of what people wrote in my for senior year in that yearbook, and he made fun of a lot of it, him and my daughter. And there were some phone numbers in there. He actually called one, which I'm pretty sure was Pete Stampone. So, Pete, if you got a call last Saturday from a 609 number, it was my husband.
Did he hang up?
No, it went to voicemail. And I was like, please don't leave a voicemail. It was very weird. But yeah, so I didn't read through any yearbooks because my husband threw me under the bus immediately. He's like, it's like cheating for a test.
Okay.
So they're sitting in my study right now.
Everyone, that's maybe the first time I've heard someone say that. I think everyone usually says like they couldn't wait to go through it because they want to be refreshed. But
I wanted to be, but then I was sort of challenged.
Out of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
My husband's like,
let's see what you got.
Exactly.
See what you got.
Knowing I have horrible memory and this is gonna just go awful. But that's fine. So no, I don't remember a lot. And if it wasn't for listening to some other people's podcasts, I'm like, oh yeah, totally forgot about that. So that's why.
So this is so weird to ask you about me.
Yeah.
So do you have any memory of anything after that point of me, or just like you just remember that happened and then that was it?
I remember that that happening and just us being in classes together and stuff like that. But
Okay.
you being in theater and, you know,
Okay.
yeah.
So in fourth
Again,
grade,
I have a horrible memory. So
Chrissy, I probably have like the most like
in Mrs. Roebuck's class, right?
yes, Mrs. Roebuck's
Who I
class, fourth grade in
loved.
Shady Grove.
Yes.
I have like the most definitive memory of like this. This is like what happened to me in fourth grade.
Okay. Thank God we have drinks right now.
Oh my God. And I purposely like never talk about you on the podcast because I never want to be able to like blow this story early. I wanted to like save it to tell this. So someone told me in fourth grade that you liked me.
Okay.
And I'm 10 years old, 9 years old, and I'm like, whoa, what a coincidence. I had a great vocabulary back then. So I'm like, what a coincidence. And I like saw you on the playground.
Okay.
And I ran after you.
Okay. Did I run away?
You ran and you were so fast and I couldn't catch you. And I'm just running. Like it was like
This really didn't happen.
This happened. I swear to fucking God, this happened. And we're like, do you remember the round? Remember the round?
Yes. Yeah. Like the parking lot. Yeah.
Yeah. We're like running in that grass
Like,
round,
I'm just-
like around. Yes.
Okay.
Why
am I just running away? Like just.
Because I was like chasing after you and like you were like coming to this cold. You had no idea what was going on. We're just like on recess and someone's like, yeah, you know, Chrissy Krauss likes you. And it's like, oh, wow. And I didn't know what you do. So I just thought like you go after her or something. Like, I don't know.
Tackle them.
Yeah, you tackle them down. Like
Normal.
Figure it out from there. And you just ran. And that
So
was
weird.
that was, yeah.
Okay. All right then.
That's story number one.
Story number one. I used to love recess, by the way. If you like think back on that. Kickball.
Kickball was good.
Loved kickball.
I love playing. Shady Grove had a really good jungle gym.
Mm-hmm.
Did you go to Shady Grove
Yes.
starting from kindergarten?
From kindergarten. So I was in there kindergarten. Yeah, we moved to the school district when I was 4. So I was born in like Fort Washington area.
Okay.
And then like Maple Glen. And then my parents moved to the house that I was in then forever. And that they had until I was even in college. So I didn't move much. I
Stayed.
have no backstories on that. Yeah, I was a very stable beginning, I guess you could say. But yeah, so I was in Miss Iaquinto's class, kindergarten.
Okay.
That's where I met Paige. So she and I became friends back then. And still good friends now. But yeah, so no, I was there the whole time.
Was Paige, did you have other friends as you were growing up through Shady Grove?
Yeah, so Paige I remember as like my first friend ever. And still to this day, we'll talk about that, how, we met in kindergarten. Colleen, we met in 3rd grade. Vividly remember the first time I met her, which is really weird to remember a 3rd grade memory. But she had this like at-home perm, and which was just, we look back on photos and we make fun of it all the time. Her mom would like perm her and her sister's hair at home, and this was like a thing.
Okay.
But I guess perms were big back then. I don't know.
In the
So
80s?
she had like this curly hair thing, and she sat with Paige and I want to say like April Haas and somebody else at our table, and it was like an instant like friendship.
Okay.
And still friends with Colleen now, but and then she and I were always really close because we played soccer together throughout everything. But that's when I met her. And everybody else, I sort of met, but they're like the two like strong ones, probably because they're still friends now.
Right.
Think back on. And then Eric Nelson was one of my also memories that I have from the first couple of years.
At Shady.
At Shady Grove. Yeah.
Was that based with, did you like hang out outside of school with any of them or?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I did like also like the brownies and like the Girl Scouts.
Oh yeah, brownies. Wow.
I actually found my sashes when I was going through finding my yearbook. I don't know why I saved them. I guess maybe because I think my daughters are gonna think it's cool one day that maybe when they're doing it, I'll be like, oh, you want to see my badges?
Are you into that? Are you a nostalgic person in that way?
I want to be. My husband like foo-foos it all the time. He's like, why do we have these boxes down here? Just throw it out. But yes, I like to go back and see photos. I like to show them to my kids.
Yeah.
My parents, when they moved, packed stuff up. So I want to say I have like 5 boxes in my basement. But I also have 5 boxes of each of my brothers too, because they live in California. And for some reason, everything's in my basement. I don't know if they even
It's not worth the
care. I
yeah,
don't
it's
know.
not worth
One
shipping
day
it.
it's either going to Goodwill or trash, or they have like the baseball cards, and something in there could be of value. So we'll see.
Okay.
But no, so I am a little nostalgic. Yes, I like to
Yeah.
go back and look and be like, oh, this is what I did, and I have like my trophies. I don't know why my parents saved some of those. Some of them I care about, and some I'm like, really? Who cares if you're like most likely to achieve stupid trophy from?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm just at that point now where I'm starting to throw stuff out from like 10, 15, 20 years ago. And I go, I've never looked at this. I never do anything with it. I don't put it
See?
on a wall. Like,
So I'm sort of like that, but I have the space. So I have a basement and there's room down there that I'm like, why get rid of it?
yeah.
So and there are only really some photo albums, again, some trophies, yearbooks. We'll see where those get to after all of this. But yeah, I keep some things.
Okay.
But I'm pretty good at like purging other stuff. Yeah.
When you got to middle school,
Mm-hmm.
you were in C-Pod?
Mm-hmm. Mr. Falatek.
Of course. Because
Which I think you're in our yeah, I think you're in
I
our
was in
class.
Mr. Winokur's class.
Oh, okay. I remember you being in the pod.
Okay, so my second story.
Oh, I forgot we had more stories. Go.
This is the, like, what the fuck?
Okay.
All right. So in 6th grade, still had a huge crush.
Okay.
And I'm talking like songs.
Was I nice to you and stuff?
No, I think so. After that happened in 4th grade, like that was like it for like me even attempting. I was like so embarrassed. So
Okay.
and to be
Sorry,
fair,
by the
I
way.
don't think and to be fair, in 5th grade, I don't think we even had class, right?
I was with Mrs. Rogers.
Right. And
That
so
had like the parrots.
I had a row.
Yeah.
And so to be fair, like how often do you even interact, right?
Yeah.
But in 6th
Right on
grade,
recess.
we had class right next to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And so I used to see you, and like the crush was like still alive.
Okay.
This is real. I don't know if I've told really like more than like 3 people this story.
Okay.
This is horrible for me. So I wrote a note,
Okay.
and for like weeks, maybe longer,
Like a note to me.
Mhm.
Okay.
wrote a note professing my love.
My God. Are there shots? Should we be taking shots right now? Like this is. I'm joking. Continue. I'm probably like just blushing
And
nonstop.
Am I?
Mm.
And I studied for weeks, like, where is your locker? Because we had like these skinny lockers,
Okay.
right?
Don't
In
remember.
middle school. And then you had like this up above cubby hole.
Okay.
And there were 2 cubby holes.
Okay.
And I think the only way to like get this note into your locker was to put it in the up top cubby hole which had like the big slots.
Okay.
So I like, all right, which one's hers? I'm gonna put this in here. Now it didn't have my name on it, right? It's an anonymous. Yeah,
Okay.
this is terrible. And I
I
put
think
it.
It's great. It was forever ago.
I
So it's great.
put it in your locker.
Okay.
The next day, and I can't believe you don't remember this, but there's this whole, oh my God, someone wrote a love letter to Andrew Leinbach. I put it in the wrong locker. Do you not remember this?
Not even the least bit. I'm sorry. So you wrote a love letter to him. By the way, talking about those letters, like notes that everybody used to write each other, I saved all of mine in this suitcase. Every single note that was passed until maybe I went to college.
Mhm.
And finally, my mom's like, can I throw these out, please? And I was like, well, maybe one day it'd be so much fun to sit around with friends and like
Look at them again.
look at them again. And I did it a couple times with like a couple random times. But when we had this, I was like, how much fun would it have been if I had this suitcase and we could just read the notes that we all sent to each other through middle school or whatever. But I would not have had that
You
note in there
wouldn't have
because you
had
gave it to Andrew.
But you would have known then.
So did you write a second one or you
No,
just
that
like
was
gave it
it.
up?
That was it. That was it. And after that, I mentally suppressed the crush, and I moved on to Adrian O'Connor. I had to. It was too painful. I had struck out 2 times. I was not a big baseball fan. I didn't want to go up for a third, and that was it.
I'm sorry. I had no idea. I didn't get the love letter.
I know. So, yeah, I've been waiting, I guess, whatever amount of years to tell you the story.
I'm glad it finally came out.
Boy, do I feel like just like a better version of me now.
Good. Good.
Did you have any other crushes that were you like in sixth grade? I talk about middle school. Like I felt like it was I don't know, sexually charged type of environment.
Sure.
Were you like chased after by any other guys that put
So,
the note in the right locker?
so, so a couple of things. So I remember like, we used to play in 5th grade. We constantly did like a rating of like guys and girls, like talk about the notes. So these are some of the notes I used to have. And it was like rank these people.
Mm-hmm.
And you think back and like, I really hope my daughters don't live through this life because that is so hard. What if you're not on the list? Or what if I'm number 10 and I wished I was 1 on his list? I don't know. But I remember we then went outside one recess and everybody, I don't know if it was like we played like truth or dare, but it was really only dares. But this was in 5th grade.
Yeah.
And I remember my first kiss was James Eckert during one of those. And it wasn't even a kiss. Like it was I don't know, like a stupid little 5th grader
little
thing.
peck.
But I do remember it. And I don't remember who everybody else's were, but I do remember that. And then, but still, I can't say they were like crushes back then. Like I don't remember any of those details. But I dated Pete Stampone for 7th and 8th grade, I want to say. I don't know if we really dated or more were just like really good friends that hung out.
Yeah, I was
going
to
say,
what is 7th, 8th grade?
I just remember always being like hanging out at his house. He had a pool in his backyard. We went to all the formals together. Like I had all those photos. So I remember like those details. And then we went to 9th grade and he ditched me and started dating like older classmen, which I get that too. Like if you think back on it, of course, like
no,
you're now
not
in high
me.
school. You're now in high school and
Not
you're
me.
like, oh, I can date like upperclassmen? 100%.
I wouldn't have done that to you.
You would have done that to me. So I chose poorly. So no, I would say I was definitely dating Pete most of dating for like 7th and 8th grade. So I don't remember anything else. I just remember having like a lot of friends. Like, so I almost didn't even go to Wissahickon for high school. My older brother, I have 2 brothers. Older, his name's Rich. Younger, Eric. And Rich went to LaSalle High School. So my parents gave us the choice. I grew up in a neighborhood where 24 homes and only 2 of us went to public school. So I grew up in that type of environment. Everybody else was in private school of some sort.
Wow.
So my parents were like, well, what do you guys want to do? You have the choice. And Rich was already in LaSalle. He had chose to leave Wissahickon. I took the test for the Mount and Gwinnett, got into both, but I had such a core group of friends. I was like, I'm not leaving them. Like, I love it there. So I stayed at Wissahickon. And my younger brother, same thing. He went to LaSalle only for 2 years and then came back to Wissahickon. It wasn't for him. So we all sort of had like our own path. My parents just gave us like that opportunity to do. And my best friend from my neighborhood went to the Gwinnett, and friends from our country club were at the Mount. So I had friends at both places. So I was a little torn when I had to make the decision. I was like, oh, I could go like to either and fit in. I knew who I'd be playing sports with. And
did you you grew up with those other people though? Yeah.
So like Katie DiDonato, who I know a lot of people hang out with now after high school, is still one of my best friends to this day. We met when we were 4 years old. Our backyards sort of match up to each other. She was my wedding kind of idea. So she was at at Gwinnett, and same with her sister. So I would have been with her there. And like, I mean, I could name drop a couple people. Like Pat Bello was at LaSalle. Ryan Parfit, who went to Wissahickon for a little bit, he then went to LaSalle. My brother was at LaSalle. There were a bunch of guys at the prep. But it was a small neighborhood, but we were like honestly on the outskirts of town. I was closer to PW. I don't know how the line is defined. Like I did not live close to Wissahickon. I was much closer to PW. So I was like Township Line Road, Staten Avenue, right in the corner there. 1 street over in any direction I would have been to PW.
Okay.
But the Gordons, Michael Gordon, Jeff Gordon, Emily Gordon, they were the only other neighbor in our neighborhood that also went to Wissahickon.
Okay.
So
you were far from Wissahickon.
Yeah.
Were you able to like be friends? Like what were you, I guess drive? Well, you know what though? That's a funny thing because in Ambler, I talk about like we just walked everywhere.
Yeah.
But
definitely didn't walk anywhere.
You drive everywhere anyway.
Once we got older, yeah. I mean, Colleen was the closest that lived to me. it was just like down Stanton Avenue to Wingsfield and turn. We actually rode our bikes to each other's house maybe once or twice. It was like a thing. Like it was like we thought we were really, really cool. Probably not the safest route with like Stanton Avenue, and then I can't think of that like other street. But we did it.
There's no sidewalk.
No sidewalk.
Yeah.
The fact that our parents let us do that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it would have happened in today's world. But I remember doing it. It was probably in high school that we did it. But or maybe we walked it. I don't remember. But we were really proud of it whenever it did happen.
Big kid shit.
Yeah, right. But no, so when I was home, I didn't hang out with anybody for a second. And then my summers were at our country club. But at the country club was like Will McBrien, Chris Gabbert. Again,
wait, you didn't hang out you didn't hang out with anybody from Wissahickon?
During the summers? I mean,
no, like at just you like
yeah, well, I mean, like yes, I'd hang out with my friends, but like
Okay.
our camp. So I didn't like do camps. It was so I belonged to Manufacturers Country Club and would play golf there. Like I started playing golf when I was 7 years old.
Wow.
My dad tried to make me go play in college, bribed me, everything, but it wasn't my thing. I wanted to play soccer.
That's
so,
a new one. Golf.
What'd you say?
That's a new one. Golf.
Yeah. No, I started with like junior golf back in. So I've had a hole in one. I was actually with Will McBrien's dad when I got my hole in one. It was like a junior championship thing, and he was more excited than I was. So I mean, in the summer we did like camp at the club, and it was golf, tennis, and swimming.
Okay.
But there were some people from Wissahickon there, but it wasn't like I did like a camp with other people. And
Did you?
yeah, like that was like my life. So yeah, I was a little.
Did
more
you like
exclusive.
hang out with them, or was it just like, hey?
What do you
and
mean,
just-
like at?
Yeah, like at the club.
Oh yeah, we would do everything.
Okay,
So I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
like for example, I vividly remember Will McBrien, Chris Gabbert, and I all sucked at swimming. The only reason you joined the swim team was so you could go to Hershey Park at the end of the summer.
yeah, yeah.
And you had to be on the swim team to go to Hershey Park, and that
Okay.
was what it was all about because it was just the lifeguards that took you, and it was so much fun. So, and that's how they got people on the swim team. Otherwise, they would have never had any kids.
Okay.
We were in like the B lane always. We sucked. We were horrible, but we just kept showing up because we wanted to go to Hershey Park. So I remember them being in those like lanes with me, like have swim practice. And then we would walk up to the tennis courts and we all had tennis class. We'd hang out with like the tennis pros, and as girls, we all had a crush on them.
And
Then we had golf in the mornings on like Friday morning or something.
you're how old at this point?
Definitely middle school.
Okay.
Definitely, and then all through high school.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. That was just what we did during the summers.
Was there golf? I know so I was friends in middle school with Adam Komisak. Do you remember
Mhm.
Adam?
A little bit.
And Adam went to LaSalle,
Okay.
and Adam played golf.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I always attach like that with that. And I don't think there was girls golf, right?
So funny you ask. There was a golf team at Wissahickon. I was the only girl on it until then. There was another girl that came as I was leaving, like senior year. I can't think of her
Oh.
name, but she was pretty good. We had so much fun. I hated the coach. He was
Schweighauser.
was it like big beer belly? He
Science
was he
teacher.
was creepy. Like he was like
That's what
the
everyone.
comments that would come out of his mouth. I'd be like, you've got to be kidding me.
That's
Like, is
what
this really
everyone
happening?
had said.
So anyway, it was like Kyle Spees, Drew Moyer, Will McBrien,
Paul Ghilardi.
Yes, Paul. Oh, so Paul Ghilardi. I played a lot with him. But I had so much fun with the guys. I was the only girl, but I would play with them all the time, and we had a blast. But the challenge was, and I remember my senior year project on this
Mhm.
was Title IX, was the fact that golf is one of the only sports that's designed that women and men can compete against each other between like the red tees and the white tees, and it's designed that way.
Okay.
But when I played through high school, there was no women's spot. Like every high school should have had just one spot, fill it with a girl, and that was who you played. I could never technically play in any of the meets or the matches, whatever you want to call them, because I had to compete against the guys on the white tees. And naturally, I'm just not as strong. I can't hit it as far. I couldn't. So I never really got to compete much until we had divisional championships, and then they had a girls division. And so I always took it far in that avenue.
In high school?
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Until senior year, and I played really, really bad, and I quit the sport then for many years afterwards, and my dad's
Okay.
still upset about it to this day. Yeah, it was a links course, and I shot horribly, and I remember my dad being there, like in the far way, and I think I shot like 120, which I'm used to like shooting in like the 90s, and I was
Yeah.
like, I quit, I'm done. I think I gave him my clubs, and I was out. But yeah, so that was a lot of it. But I loved playing like practice with them. But a lot of the times I had Manny's, the country club, to go practice at. So and I hated what did we say his coach? The coach's name was
Schweighauser.
Hated him, and I didn't always want to go to practice because it was demoralizing. I couldn't. Didn't matter how well I played, I could never have competed. I tried. And so I would go to some practices, but he was totally fine with me practicing on my own. So I'd go and just play nine holes by myself at the club and just meet up with another guy that was there, and we would just go
hang
do that.
around.
Yeah. But yeah, so golf was what I did in high school for in the fall for sports.
Wow.
Yeah, my parents required all of us had to play 3 sports.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
you had to do something. My dad was like, "You're not coming home. Go do something, but you can't get a job because I need you to do something else."
that's funny because Paige talked about like always like I called her episode on YouTube filling all the slots because she always felt like she had to fill all the slots of her time. But that was just kind of like what she wanted to do. And her parents at a young age just got her involved, but it was mandated for you.
To a degree. I think also we all just were athletic, and he's like, figure out what you want to do. So freshman year going into high school, because the sports changed, which was really annoying. So in middle school, soccer, I think, was in the fall, but come high school, soccer was in the spring. So what was I now going to do in the fall? And track was in the spring. So in middle school, I did soccer, probably basketball, I would imagine. Soccer, basketball, and track. Okay. And actually won the Penn Relays in 8th grade.
Really?
Yeah.
And what?
It was the 4x1. So it was Krista Ramirez, Colleen, and Jessica Davis.
Yeah.
So we won the Penn Relays. I tell people that, and they're like,
awesome.
"You're not that fast. How did you do that?" I'm like, "I was in the slowest leg of the run."
But you're 1/4 of the fastest team.
Exactly. So that's one of those trophies that I want to keep forever because it was pretty cool to say
That's
you won the Penn Relays.
Yes.
I don't care if it was 8th grade.
That's a lifetime achievement that like a lot of people
And we won by
never...
default. But the people that actually won for some reason were disqualified. But whatever. We still won.
Pass a steroid test? Or...
I don't remember what it was. I just remember thinking we thought we lost, and then we found out we won when we were back in the stands, and it was fun.
Okay.
So anyway, so those are the sports I did in middle school. Come high school, soccer switches, and soccer was my sport. So I was like, what am I going to do in the fall now? So I started with water polo. Molly Foose was playing water polo, and I think Steph Schneck, and I was like, I can do that. I had broken my ankle, and because I swam, I had broken my ankle though the summer before, and with swimming, you need like strong legs. So I remember going to the first practice of water polo, and that was a complete disaster. So my dad's like, we'll figure something else out because you're not coming back home. And I was like, all right. So that's when I went and joined golf. And then just did that for the many other years.
The fall.
Yeah. And then I had basketball always in the winter and soccer in the spring.
Okay. Were you good at these other ones?
So basketball, I was really, really good on JV. And I loved the camaraderie of the basketball team. So it was probably one of the best teams because it's a small team. You practice Saturday mornings. We all hung out by the trainer's room.
Okay.
Somebody just told me, I can't remember the trainer's name, but like he's now back at Wissahickon and doing something. He was a young guy. He was like a Temple student at the time. We all loved him. And I remember like having like ice on my legs all the time because of shin splints. And because I would go back and forth from the soccer field to the gym with basketball, and it just killed the shins. But basketball was probably one of my favorite teams, like Ann Patterson, Ashley Kreider, Jess Davis, Bianca Mercer. Like it was just Katie Eveland. It was just a bond. I don't know if it's the longest season. No idea. Katie Constable. We just had a lot of fun. So freshman year, I was the point guard, like pretty good. I think it was, yes. Yeah. I think I dislocated my finger one of the years. Might have been that year. But there's a story my brother tells, and it's worth telling because it just shows how ridiculous I was. I was incredibly aggressive on the basketball court. And there's this one, right? And I remember whoever the principal was at the time was there.
Anderson.
And somebody didn't let go of the ball. So it should have been a jump ball, but I literally took the girl up and body slammed her down. It ended up being a jump ball, and I was so pissed. And they're like, and the girl was hurt. And they're like, what are you doing here? And I was like, she didn't let go of the ball. And I like stormed off, like so mad because I think I got like some horrible foul. And I was like, she should have just let go of the ball and life would have been better for her. And they're like, oh, so you're just like And I'm not an aggressive person, but
Yeah, I
like, I
was just
guess.
gonna ask, like, it's funny because like I talked about like, so when I get these crushes on girls, I like create a personality about them, right? And I didn't know you, so it's so
Yeah.
different. That's what's so different, like with like Anne. So you're like the third crush,
Okay.
third girl I ever loved,
Okay.
right?
Ever love.
Ever loved. It's Anne and then Ashley McLaughlin and then you, right? First grade, third grade, fourth grade.
Okay.
But like I kind of knew them from like
Yeah.
Ambler and stuff, and like continue to kind of see them around and family and things like that. But like you, I just knew nothing about. So I probably created this whole persona. But now I hear that you're just like body slamming motherfuckers
This
on
was
the
just
court.
exactly. And it was so not who I am, but I guess out there, I was just like, I don't know. So when I wasn't good when I came to varsity. I was like I never started, which was fine. It was not my main sport. And
Was
but
it
I
talent?
played.
Was
Like, you
the
know what I mean?
talent just that much better?
Well, I mean, we had Ann and Jess who ran point guard, and which was what I was
Same
before.
position,
So
okay.
why?
And they were already on
And I'm
varsity.
short. So
when
if I'm not point guard, what am I? And then Katie Constable was there, and she was much better than me too. So, but I was the fouler. So I ended up being the person they
You're
put
the
in
goon.
to foul. And I remember, I think his name was Mr. Kirk. I could be making it up. And like Ann's dad was always around, like doing like the scoreboard and stuff like that. And I remember him always making like funny comments to me. But yeah, I was definitely like sixth off the bench. All right, we need something done. Go and
Are you
do
a
it.
competitive person outside of
Oh,
basketball?
I'm so competitive. Like we play games with our daughter. She's 6 years old. She doesn't get to win. We played Trouble the other day, and I ended up winning. And sometimes she's like, "Why can't you just like be nice to me?" I was like, "You need to learn how to lose. Like, let's get past that." No, I'm very competitive, and everybody.
Yeah.
I love a good competition. I like it to be fair, and if it's not fair, I want to find a way to make it fair because I don't just want to like win. It's,
Yeah.
let's make it even playing field. No, I'm very competitive. In a fun way.
Okay.
Like I don't get upset if I lose.
Yeah.
I definitely.
But if you're in it, you're going all in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basketball, that was that, and then soccer was my main sport.
Okay.
Yeah, by far.
So that moved.
I can't say I was good at soccer. I enjoyed it the most.
Is that because you? Well, did you do all those sports though as a kid? Like, did you do like WRA or?
So my dad had me. I could say us. I did a little of every sport. So growing up, it was like just get into it all, figure out what you like. I loved soccer from the beginning. I remember Colleen's dad taught me how to kick a soccer ball, and I played defense then because I ended up having a really good kick from a young age. I just remember vividly one day he just took me aside, and Colleen's dad was the head coach of LaSalle College boys team.
Okay.
So he was he knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
And Colleen's mom was always our coach growing up. For every WRA, like you name it, soccer team. So her dad was at a couple games. One day he taught me actually how to kick the ball, and I ended up being like, oh, pretty good at this. So I was always in defense. I would always do like, the kicks going out, and that was my thing. So I knew I liked soccer from the beginning. And again, competitive, but you're not too aggressive. It's not like you're out there to like fight somebody. But you have to be at least like throw your shoulder.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can you control that in soccer? Is that?
Yeah, but you don't have to. So it was more in my sport. It was more in my type of thing. I played baseball. I remember that, or softball, I guess for girls. I remember being pitcher, catcher. I remember like being on like Bethany Smith's team. I don't know if her dad was a coach or something, and Colleen and Paige. Like we all did all the sports together.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I never did lacrosse, because lacrosse would be with soccer. And so I remember that because I remember I was so mad when they changed the seasons going into high school, because I would have probably loved to do soccer, basketball, and lacrosse, but I never had the chance because soccer and lacrosse were the same time. And I was not a field hockey player. I don't know why, but it was like talked so poorly about in my house. I think my dad was so against field hockey. I have no idea.
Why?
So it was never a choice. I don't know. I don't think he thought it was a sport. I have no idea.
So you grew up with two brothers.
Two brothers.
So were you like, but you're in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
But as you're like in that kind of like that sweet spot where you're all very active, what was it like to have to get the attention for a girl sport?
Oh, it's a conversation all in itself. So it was a big thing. So as I mentioned before, my brother was like star running back at LaSalle High School, and LaSalle High School's football team was like a big deal. And there came a point in high school, I mean, get to this, when I didn't hang out with a lot of high school people and I would do more stuff with LaSalle. I would on a Friday night go to LaSalle games and not the Wissahickon games, actually quite often.
Really?
Because my brother was playing for a while, and then that just sort of more became my crowd. But so I remember we always had to work our whole life around my older brother's football schedule. And I played soccer. Granted, I played soccer every weekend, but it still bothered me. And he only had maybe 10 games.
Mm.
And that was like the argument. But my dad would never miss a game of his. And he like never came to my stuff. But my dad's like, you have so many games. And he only has a couple. But I saw it different. Like we had a house up in the Poconos.
Yeah.
Growing up, and we would go up all the time, but never if Rich had like a football game or something like that. So I remember having a lot of like, I don't know, jealousy to it.
Yeah.
But I think that's just.
What about your younger brother? How much younger is he?
He's 2 years. So we're all 2 years apart. He and I never had that. And again, I never actually fought for the attention.
Just noticed it.
I would notice it, yeah. And I probably said stuff to my dad, but I never was mad at my brother. My younger brother to me has always been like my little brother, even though he's actually taller than all of us. My older brother could do anything, whatever. My younger brother, I was more protective of. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, you're saying that about Eric? And even to this day, I love my older brother if he watches this, but I'm much more protective of my little brother.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and we're all really close.
Your older brother doesn't need your help.
No, he doesn't. Growing up, I was the one that still paved the way for everything because I was the more outgoing one and he was really shy. Oh. So I was the first to get caught drinking, the first to, you name it. And I remember going to him once. I was like, you're older than me. What's wrong here? Like, I need you to pave the way so I'm not the one always getting in trouble. But that wasn't his deal.
So when does that start like happening where you're getting caught drinking?
So Lizzie told the first story when we all got arrested. I was part of that.
Oh, okay, you're in that group.
But the part I need to tell of that one,
yeah.
I was the drunk one passed out upstairs where the cops went up. I vividly remember it. Cop was walking up the steps. I'm walking down. And I was like, oh, shit. It's like one. And I think I only had 3 beers, but they were warm beers. I do remember I was throwing up upstairs and passed out in one of the bedrooms. Yeah. It was horrible. I think it was warm beer. Probably Natty Light, Natty Ice, like whatever you get your hands on. Walked down the steps. I gave complete attitude. Somebody yelled at me because I refused to give them my name or something. I don't know. I just was in denial. But yes, that happened. I remember I was one of the people that had the penny in my mouth. Somebody, again, I'm not going to put names out there because I don't want to tell bad stories about people. But I remember who gave it to me and told me like that would make a difference. I don't think it did. I remember being in the paddy wagon, and yes, that's how I vividly remember it with all the girls. I didn't remember Lizzie being there. It's funny that Lizzie even said it.
Oh, okay.
But
you were drunk.
Yes. I think I'm
sober
pretty sure
one.
I blew a .08. Like yeah. My dad had to come pick me up. The funny part is I got kicked off of sports. I didn't have 1 detention in all of high school. But yet I got kicked out of everything my sophomore year. So it's like I don't know. Like I was a goody 2-shoes, except for this one night.
Yeah.
And that's when I left going to Wissahickon parties. So that's when I said like I started going to other stuff. I pulled away from like a lot of Wissahickon stuff because I knew I had to sign that contract with every sport, and no longer did I feel like risking it. So I was like, let me just go hang out with the LaSalle guys and the Gwinnett girls and the prep guys. And it's harder to get caught if you're not even with Wissahickon people.
Well, that's what I was going to say. If you were to get caught somewhere else, like what triggers Wissahickon knowing about it? Is it because everyone
Honestly, what triggered where we all got caught? I found out later that one of the parents of the kids we were with called the school and asked what's going to happen to our kids.
They wanted your spots.
No, it was one of the kids who got caught with us.
Oh.
Asked. I don't think the school knew before this one person's mom called in and said what's going to happen, and they're like, well, what do you mean? And it was Whippane Police, and you think it probably would have gotten there, but that I was again through the grapevine. I have no idea if this was true or not, but that was probably the worst time of my life. My parents finally felt bad for me. They grounded me forever. Like I was
worst time of your life because you got caught because you're off the team. It was embarrassing.
It was more not being able to play soccer at all. And I remember going and crying. Mr. Johnson was our teacher, and I was really close with him. He was our math teacher in middle school. He was then our coach. And it was just, Horrible. But I remember the day I found out I got kicked off, I ran across the street to his class in bawling in tears. He took me aside and like calmed me down and whatever. He felt bad too. Like
Mm.
I mean, you make a mistake as a kid, kind of idea.
Yeah.
I learned my lesson. There was no question about it.
Well, I mean,
I got kicked out of varsity club. The good news
the
was
lesson you learned, though, let's be clear. The lesson you learned wasn't.
don't get caught.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, I continued drinking throughout high school, but it was more don't get caught. So I found a different way to then drink, and I was much more conscious if I went out to a party, who's going to be there, how big is it, what's my out, like what's my strategy to get out of this if I needed to. Little smarter, I guess. But I mean, my parents grounded me. I remember the first game I went to because he had to kick me off the team, Mr. J. I tried to sit on the bench. And I wasn't even allowed to sit on the bench. He had to send me to the bleachers. He felt awful. It was I just remember crying. And I'm not a very emotional person. Like I cry over nothing, but it was horrible. And to not be able to play your favorite sport. And it was, luckily for me, I was a sophomore. So it didn't affect me in the long run. I got back into varsity club the next year. I was still captain of the soccer team moving forward. Like I was able to make up for it.
Mm.
It didn't affect me in the long run.
So I want to ask you because, you said you're not aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to tell you, you get kicked off the team. And then you go and you sit on the bench.
Mm-hmm.
But you're kicked off.
Well, I thought I could still just hang out and, I don't know, still support my teammates.
That's an aggressive move.
Yeah, I got sent to the bleachers. It was Hatboro Horsham. So funny story too. So one of my best friends who ended up being the maid of honor in my wedding, Julie Burns, it was from Hatboro Horsham. So remember I said I left and hung out with other people. So I also went and hung out with Hatboro a lot and created a sort of connection. So like Anne and Paige, not as much Colleen, would always go to parties with me with Hatboro. So I didn't really hang out with Wissahickon too much.
Yeah.
When it came down to it in high school.
Were you dating in high school? You were obviously dating in high school.
No, I don't remember dating. I remember asking everybody to every formal. Nobody ever asked me. Unless it was like a setup, like, oh, you both don't have dates. Let's just, you two go together. But I was invited to every LaSalle formal and prep formal and those, but not Wissahickon. When it came to Wissahickon.
Nobody asked you? But you weren't dating anybody?
Not like I can remember. I had, not really. And I'm sorry if there's somebody out there that I dated you and you're like, oh my God, you don't remember me. No, I remember one summer, but I feel like one summer I dated a guy from, it wasn't our school. I can't think of what school he went to. Maybe, no, not Hatboro. Upper Dublin. And then I had a really good friend who went to LaSalle, but I think that was right after high school. Who I guess I started dating at some point. But again.
But no one from you never dated in Wissahickon after Pete Sampone in middle school.
Right. Pete was like my only. No, like I went back and found a bunch of like my formal photos and stuff like that. And everybody I went with was a friend. So I would say no because of that. Like I remember like I went with Kyle Spees to one of them. Corey
You would say no?
Leshner.
What do you mean?
Like no to the dating. Like I don't remember. I mean, I remember probably having like, I think my shortest relationship was in middle school where everybody dates everybody for like a short period of time. Like, oh, between friends, you guys are dating.
Yeah.
I think it was 45 minutes. I can't remember the person's name. I can sort of remember their face. And I was like, is this really our life? But that really happened. My first crush, actually, Steve Johnson. First kiss.
Same.
First.
No.
First, like I think real kiss.
He was my fourth crush.
We danced at the 6th grade camping trip. I remember that.
Camp Cannon
and
dances.
he put his like hands in my back pocket and that became like a thing. We all got in trouble because of it.
Yes.
It started with us.
I remember that move.
Yeah. That happened. That was in 6th grade. And so Molly, Katie, and I were all in Mr. Falatek's class together. And Anne. Was Anne in ours class? Anne was with us a lot too. But it was Molly, Katie, and I who learned sign language. But we only learned a little bit of sign language. Molly's Molly Foose and Katie Evelyn. Molly Foose's sister was dating a guy who was deaf. So she learned sign language. She taught it to us, but we used to spell just Steve's name out and then just giggle. It was really weird, but we did this. We used to go ice skating and pretend one of us was deaf, and we would like try to hit on boys and like play this game. It was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun. It was also the year that we were obsessed with Jonathan Taylor Thomas and like Teen Beat and have those magazines.
Yeah, JTT.
Oh, yeah.
Was
On
it?
the way to the 6th grade camping trip, I remember we had magazines. We were in the back of the bus. We were the cool kids in the back of the bus, just looking at these magazines. I wrote to him once. He wrote me back.
JTT?
Yes. He didn't probably write me back. His publicist probably put something in the mail and sent it back. But I wrote him a letter.
See, I
Professing
want to
my
believe.
love.
See?
He was the voice of the Lion King. Like,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah, he was Simba.
We used to listen to the Lion King soundtrack. I remember we were coming back from, we used to go ice skating. Again, Molly, Katie, I. And with our, like, we were acting like one of us couldn't speak. And we would come back and remember this one trip where we were like signing to each other. And then we were all singing the Lion King songs. And this was like such a carefree time in my life.
No, Lion King's a great fucking movie. That is, as I like to always say, the Lion
Mhm.
King specifically is like the last great animated movie.
I don't agree. I think like I don't agree. I think Moana is really, really good.
Mulan?
Moana.
Oh, Moana. Is that the one with the rock?
Yeah. Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
So before we even had kids, we would watch a lot of Disney movies, and that I think that's one we watched by ourselves without even children. I had to take a child, made me watch Frozen.
Yeah.
I really wasn't into it.
Haven't
It's
seen it.
cute. I like the music now, but it wasn't one that like caught my attention prior to.
Okay.
But Lion King's good. It's really, really sad at the one point.
It's just the one part.
I mean,
All Disney
fast
movies
forward
are.
and move on. They're all sad.
All Disney movies are.
But I loved the Lion King. It's cute. But anyway, so we would JTT, huge crush.
So that was from the Lion King, from the voice of him being a
No, I mean
a
he was on
lion.
Home Improvement.
Yeah, so you were a
He
Home
was just
Improvement
all in our
fan?
Teen Beat magazine.
But you know, it's funny 'cause I didn't have a crush on Jonathan Taylor Thomas, so you know, it's like, where were you seeing him? Was it from Home Improvement? Because I got into
Probably.
Home
I don't know what
Improvement
else.
late, and to be honest, I was more all about the Brad brother.
Yeah, he was cool. I don't know. There's something about JTT. I don't know. Listen, I was
Just give me a little bit, Chrissy. At least like the fucking name. I mean, just
what Brad? Oh. I didn't put two and two together where you're coming from with that. Little clueless. Yes. No. I like Jonathan.
What about? I remember him in the Huck Finn with Brad Renfro.
All about the Brad names. Do you know if I was born a boy, my name was going to be Brad?
Really
Mhm.
interesting.
Yeah. Interesting little story.
It feels like
Actually, my whole name has a big story to it.
feels
You
like
wanna
it
get
was
into
it was
that?
meant to be, and we just bucked
My name was
destiny.
supposed to be Brad if I was a boy.
Can we
but,
talk about the name for a second?
Yeah, I have a lot of names.
So you know, I know you as Chrissy,
Mm-hmm.
and then like on Facebook, you're Christy.
Yes. Do you want me to tell you all about it?
Yeah, I'd like to know.
It's quite the story. But okay, so I was born Christina is my given name.
Hmm.
Nobody's ever called me that. When I though went through elementary school, everybody called me Christina. But I grew up being called Christy. They named me Christina because my dad really liked Christy Brinkley. So my whole family's always called me Christy.
Hmm.
Spelled like Christy Brinkley, which is not always the normal way to spell it. But my dad was obsessed with her. Whatever, she's beautiful.
You're
we'll
with an
take it.
IE. The
IE.
normal way is with a Y.
I think that yes, most people don't spell it with an
Okay.
IE. But when I got to kindergarten or elementary school, I was Christina, and I didn't correct people because whatever. So most people, I think, in kindergarten or whatever, called me Christina. And I think come 3rd grade, I was like, Mom, I hate this. Like, that's not my name. Like, I don't want to be called this. And she's like, well, you have a choice. You can go to Christy, which is what we call you. You can do Chris. You can do Tina. You have so many choices. Chrissy? And at that point, I didn't want to be a baby anymore. So I was like, I want to be Chrissy. So I picked Chrissy, and I started changing everything. And I refused to respond to Christina. I was a complete bitch to my family. And I was like, if you don't call me Chrissy, I won't even answer you.
Again, aggressive.
Yeah. So I really have an aggressive personality. But my brothers and my dad and my like close family never changed. I was always Christy. My mom, I was so mean to her. I refused to listen to her. She didn't say Chrissy. To this day, I think family friends have no idea what to call me. For a while, they just wouldn't even say my name.
So you were
Are you
Chrissy
Chrissy
in
or
school all day long, and then at home you would be Christy.
Exactly. To a degree. A little bit. And then high school.
But your parents
Chris
would call you.
My mom had to call me Chrissy. My dad always called me Christy. I don't think he ever changed. And my brothers never changed.
Wow.
Then in high school, Chris became a little more the norm. Like
Really?
Paige and Colleen call me Chris.
Really?
Or Chrissy, but mostly Chris. Especially now because it's even weirder. So when I went to college, I was done with Chrissy. I hate it. Chris Krauss during Chris Cross time period was a thing all on its own. I didn't like the name Chrissy, but I was stuck with it. Like, I hate it. Chrissy Krauss is like a tongue twister. It's horrible. I should have thought it through, but I hated the
You're
name
out of
Tina.
your fucking mind.
Anyway, so this is a thing. So I went to college and I was like, I'm gonna go back to Christy. Like, nobody knows me here. Hold on, there's more to this. Nobody knows me here. Katie, Evelyn, and I went together. We decided not to live together, but she called me Chris at the time, so it didn't matter. So I went back to Christy, and my brother was already at Penn State, and that's where I went. And he called me Christy, so it was simple. So I was Christy in college, except the first day I show up, I'm playing club soccer there, and we had preseason a week before school started. And a girl comes in, and her last name was Strauss, okay? And my last name was Krauss. And she had one of the strongest personalities ever, and I just clung to her, and we became best friends. So it was Strauss and Krauss. So from day one, nobody called me Christy, you name it. I was just Krauss. Because I was always with Strauss, and she didn't have a first name either. So all of my college friends call me Krauss. I did not have a first name in college. I don't think a single guy knew my first name. There was no first name. It was just I was Krauss. Soccer field, everything. So it made it easy, but then I was Krauss. To this day, they still all call me Krauss, even though that's not even in my name anymore. But I was Christy. Katie Evelyn now calls me Krauss too, because she and I were in sorority together at Penn State.
Okay.
And then afterwards, I just stuck with Christy. However, my husband and his friends one day, we were at my parents' beach house, and they're like, well, what is like your real name? And I was like, it's Christina. And one was like, oh, like Tina? I was like, oh, I hate that name.
Same.
It's stuck. So they all call me Tina. So my husband's friends call me Tina
what
or
assholes.
T or TT or Heavy T. Like, this is like a thing. I'll Miss T to most of their kids. Really weird. I have a lot of names.
Wow.
Moral of the story, any of the names I respond. I don't actually respond to Chrissy much anymore because not many people
No one
call
calls
me
that.
unless I went to high school with you.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm going with.
Yeah.
You're Chrissy.
Yeah.
Chrissy is the girl that I fell in love with. I gotta tell you, I don't know if I would have been
into a Christy.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, it would have brought you down a couple notches, I think.
But yeah, so I've had a lot of names, and I respond to them all. And they all give a different point of my life. And Evelyn is probably the only one that's been around for most of them. So it's just funny how she's like adapted with it all.
You call Katie Evelyn?
Yeah.
You guys have a last name thing? We
do. There's a girl, Piper, Carbs. This is all my sorority. So it was a lot of us went by last names for whatever reason. I mean, one of them, their last name was Piper. It's a great name.
Yeah.
So she ended up naming her daughter Piper because it's a great name. But
I like Orange is the New Black.
Yeah. There you go.
Good name.
Piper.
Yeah. So we've established now that you're aggressive, and you didn't
I
know
like to say passive aggressive.
You didn't know it. No, that's aggressive.
Yeah, I know. The joke is I like to tell people like I'm just being passive aggressive, and they're all like, "You're just being aggressive." And I'm like, I guess.
Yeah, it's just regular old aggression,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But it's funny because again, like you think you know a person. And then, yeah, and then like hearing these things, it's like, oh wow, that's kind of weird. Wouldn't picture that.
Yeah. Sorry to change the image, but yes,
that's fine. While you're in in high school, did you have? You can put your feet up if you want.
Yeah, really well. We're all good.
If you when you were in high school, did you have like a class that you liked, favorite teacher or class or anything like that?
So I thought about all that. So. For some reason, I remember a lot more middle school of that, like Mr. Landis, Mr. Johnston.
What, you have the
Chrissy Schuck said the German thing, and I totally forgot about Herr Bray. But Herr Bray, how anybody would have failed his class? You have to be a complete idiot. You graded your own test, or you graded your person sitting next to you.
Mm-hmm.
He told the story about the monkey and the poop and monkey poop being thrown at you. Do you remember the story? He told it to everybody. And then we all went to Germany in high school. If you stayed with German, so we all went. A bunch of us went to Germany for a high school trip.
German ancestry.
Yes, I thought I did until my brother just blew it up over Christmas.
Oh no! Did you get an ancestry.com thing?
Yeah, he decided to do that, and I was like, wait, there's no German in us. I found out my grandmom's from like Poland, and I was like, whatever.
Is Krauss not a German name?
It is. It's 100%. It means I think frizzy. Yeah, and Lustig is my mom's maiden name, and that means funny in German, but. Anyway, so I took German, a language nobody ever needs. I wish I took Spanish because I actually would use Spanish. But we went to Germany. It was fun. But so I remember Herr Bray. But in high school, so it's horrible. I can't remember this one teacher's name because she was also our basketball coach, and I loved her.
Karanji?
Yes. Thank you, Jen. I remembered her first name, but
Yeah.
I couldn't remember her last name. Loved her. And again, because she was our coach, she was like very lenient with us. And I remember Katie being in our class, and she was an English teacher. So I remember loving her. I had Mrs. Speece for AP English senior year, so I took a lot of the AP classes. But no, I don't remember like one class. Like I did not like high school. Let's put that out there.
Really?
I hated high school. I didn't fit in anywhere, I felt. And that's probably why I went to other places to like hang out. But no, it was like.
Was that an effect of the party, do you think?
I don't know. So, I mean, to this day, there's 8 of us that now are back on like, because of Elin setting up like a Zoom. There always was like 8 of us. So it was me, Colleen, Paige, Brooke, Katie Evelyn, Molly Foose, Ann Patterson, Lizzie Black.
Great.
So the 8
Sounds
of
like
us
a great crew.
were always, so the 8 of us always connected as like the 8. So anyway, I just felt like I jumped between different crowds, and it depended on, I guess, what sport I was in at the time. I don't know. I don't know. I never felt like I fully fit in. But I feel like a lot of people would say that about high school because I don't know how many people loved high school. I was more college. I loved
Not in
college.
such terms, to be honest. You sound like you say you didn't like it, but I find that really, really, no one that was like in what I would call the popular crowd would say that. Like they all loved high school.
Hated high school. I loved middle school, loved college. I would never go back to high school. So you have all these records. You actually play your records?
You know what? I'm about a year out of like my record fad. I still love records. I just for the last, I don't know, I guess since quarantine, really, I just for some reason I need to. But yeah, so these records are some are mine that like I have bought, and some are
It's quite the collection.
Yeah, and some are from I used to do college radio. So you just take like records from the station, never bring them back.
Yeah.
And then some are from my dad. So when my dad passed, my dad had tons of records, and that's what probably like 60% of these are from my dad.
That's great.
It's
We have
awesome.
so many in our basement. So my husband's really into. So my husband's name is Dan. So I stop calling him my husband. His name's Dan.
We don't have to talk about him that much.
I mean, he's not even worth talking about. His family was really into music, and he is really into music. And we have, this is also in my basement, boxes of records. And I can't get rid of them because I'm like, I really would love to get a cool record player, like an old fashioned one of like a statement piece in the house. He had one that he gave to somebody to refurbish that was like his great uncle's or something. And the guy like went out of business, and in the process we just lost it. But like I would love one day to find somebody else's that's like selling, and then be able to play like real records. Our daughter, who's 5, plays the piano she's really into music and is very fluent already in the piano. And I think she would love to like listen to old records. And they're a music family. I just so happen to be part of the family.
Yeah.
I can't carry a beat.
That's
or
cool.
do anything.
That's fun.
But I like the idea of records. I would love to find a record player so I can use the
just
records.
get a record player and just start listening to them at least. And
I
then,
know, like
get
what
your
you have.
statement piece, later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, when I took all these records from my dad's house, and like, they're just, some go back to like the 50s. Like I've got stuff with Ray Charles where he's not even singing.
Yeah.
He's just playing piano.
Well, that's the thing. So you were mentioning before how as a family, we do like those competitions that I've posted.
Yeah.
So that was my husband's idea. So my daughter Willow, she asked my husband one day what his favorite Beatles song was. And he's like, well, that's how does one answer that question? So we decided to play every Beatles album, every Beatles song for her to hear them.
How long
to this
does that
day,
take?
she hears a Beatles song now and she's like, oh, it's the Beatles.
How long? What's the process? So I was wondering about, so I looked at this, right? So obviously being a crush, like I look at things where I just go, oh, we have that in common. Like when I saw that you were doing, the Beatles, and they were like Stevie Wonder next.
Yeah. So we did
And I
the
was
Beatles.
I was
then
like,
Queen.
oh
Yeah, it was
you did
Beatles, Queen, Elton John, Stevie Wonder. We're now on Joni Mitchell.
When I saw that though,
Yeah.
I was like, she likes Stevie Wonder? We could have started listening to Stevie Wonder and just fallen in love, and this could have been it.
Yeah.
So when I see that, I'm just like, oh my gosh, she likes music. That's so cool. She likes music.
So
So what I'm curious is, how does one get through every Beatles song ever? What do you
sure.
actually?
So we have music on in our house all the time. And many times it's like, what do you want to listen to tonight?
Mhm.
So at dinner now we listen to an album of whoever we're playing with. And we each pick
That's
one
cool.
song from the album to go into this bracket. And it's from the bracket that we then continue. Now, if it's an album where it's like everyone's a hit, we pick more than 3 songs, like
Sure.
because you can't cut some of them out.
Yeah.
So we do cheat a little bit. And then we go, the bracket's the best part because those are like the best songs. And then we honestly do it as a regular, like,
You listen to them.
like over and over. And we go, okay, which one do you guys like better of this one? Okay, this one moves on. This one moves on. And then it's like,
Do you listen to them when you're looking at the brackets to actually decide?
so I'm the one that usually reads out the names and tells like our Alexa what to turn on. It's been fun, I must say. So I've learned a lot with the music. I never cared for Queen ever.
Yeah.
And then we found some amazing songs from Queen just from listening to every single album, every single song.
Mhm. In
Yeah.
high school, did you have a favorite? I mean, tell me why you loved going to Dave Matthews Band's concerts.
I did not really love Dave Matthews Band's.
Chrissy, this
But
is
I would go to the
why.
concerts for.
This is why you are the third girl I ever loved. This is why. Thank you.
No, I mean Dave Matthews Band is not good.
Yeah. Oh my.
But they threw
My heart right now
for
is
some
just swelling.
reason, the concerts, people just like it was about the drinking in the parking
Right.
lot, not the concert.
Right.
And if you weren't at the concert, you were like, oh, what were you doing? Like, why were you there?
Yes.
So no, I would go to the concerts. Did I go into the concerts? I have no idea. I don't remember that. I remember drinking in the concerts.
Oh.
Peeing in the parking lots. Like,
Yeah.
these are the things I remember.
These are the stories I remember hearing. Is the peeing, the peeing in
were
the
you
parking
there?
lots. No, never, ever.
So what concerts would you go to?
I never went to concerts in high school as a kid. The only concert I ever went to in like that time, like high school, was I went to New Edition and 112.
Oh, I mean,
Right. That was like 90. That was like 97. I went with my dad. And
really
that's
good.
the only concert that I ever went to then. And then like in college, I started going because I was in radio. So everyone was going to shows
Oh, I
and
can
stuff.
imagine.
So my first concert after that was the Roots and the Mighty Mighty Bosstones.
All right. That sounds a little.
And now I just, concerts all day, every day.
Will ya?
Prior to COVID. Like
Yeah, I could imagine.
usually like 3 to 5.
You know what venue I used to love that was in the city?
minimum.
It's down by the waterfront.
Yeah.
It was all standing.
Penn's Landing, yeah, at Festival Pier.
Yes, thank you.
So
Jason Mraz I saw there, who I love, but I saw him there. There was another just random. We would just like randomly get tickets to go there.
I've been to, so we used to do
And I loved the venue.
prior to COVID, the Roots picnic used to happen at Festival Pier
Yeah, I can imagine
every
that.
year,
Mhm.
except for last year they moved to Fairmount Park
Mm-hmm.
at the Man Music Center. But prior to that, every year was at Festival Pier.
It's a small
So
venue.
it's a small venue, but it's like you just come. I wear jorts. I wear jorts that I've had since 8th grade.
Now, your jorts, did you cut them yourself?
No. These are legit. These are like Paco jorts from 8th grade. Okay. In 8th grade, that might have been all right. Maybe.
Okay.
And they still fit. And so I wear them because I don't care what happens to them. I don't care. Like I wear a basketball jersey and you just,
This is your outfit.
this is my concert. Yeah.
Mhm.
And you just, cause you got to be able to sweat. Cause I dance like, we get there about noon, 1 o'clock. It ends about 11, 12. So
It's a long day.
it's a full day of standing and jumping around and pushing people out of the
fun.
way, but it's all at Festival Pier and I love it.
So my brothers both live in California. They both live in San Diego. And my younger brother especially is all about concerts.
Mhm.
At least he used to be. And I feel like he would just find these like, he's like, oh yeah, we're just going to a concert. Like out of the blue, they just have so many outdoor stuff there.
Right.
And my dad was always wondering why they wouldn't come back to the East Coast. And you go out and visit and you're like, why would you come back here? Like any time of year, there's an awesome outdoor concert. They go camping for them. They went to Coachella every single year. And we just camp and, have
Are
a
you
blast.
a West Coast friendly person?
When I visit that, what do you mean?
Well-
What does that mean?
Well, I was going to, are you like you've got family here, but are you like, do you wish that you were in California?
No. I mean, I guess no, because my family is here, but I go visit my brothers and I know why they're not coming back. I mean, my younger brother works from home. He works for a East Coast company. So he's up early doing his East Coast stuff. He surfs every single day almost. Like at 3 o'clock, he's out in the water on his board. And that's pretty cool. Or he's out
Mm.
playing golf. I understand why they never come back. You know,
Yeah.
and it took my dad a long time. And now I'm an only child on the East Coast with my parents. They live in Florida right now. But
Oh
in the
wow, so you're
summer,
all alone.
I'm all alone. But they come back. So my parents go back and forth. So they sold their house I grew up in, bought a smaller place. They now have a place still in Fort Washington, but they took residency in Florida.
Mm.
But when they're up here, we're at their beach house in Ocean City. So every weekend in the summer, they come from May to October. We're with them every weekend. They take care of the girls when I work weekends,
Oh,
and because
wow.
my husband,
What
his business, he isn't around much in the summer,
what
so it's
block?
like the perfect thing.
What block in Ocean City?
20th in Central.
You're fucking kidding me.
Why?
I spent my entire like teenage and college years living at 21st and Central.
Oh, really?
I was 2 blocks from. Yeah, I was on the same beach with Brooke
Oh,
every summer.
so I walked. Yeah, so I was literally.
I worked. I used
I don't
to.
know how we never ran into each other. Seriously.
I would have lost my shit, Chrissy. So I worked at 34th Street for 2 summers.
Blitzes?
No, Wawa.
Oh, the Wawa at 34th.
34th.
Okay.
Yeah, 34th.
So in Ocean City, I lived right out of college. So what, 05, May of 05, for a year and a half, I lived in that house in Ocean City.
This blows my mind because every summer I would be.
Yeah. No, so that's where we so right now, every weekend in the summer.
Were you single then, Chrissy?
No, I met my husband in college. So we started dating the summer between sophomore and junior year, though he didn't go to college with me. We met through a mutual friend. Did long distance.
This could have been like the great love turmoil of my life, where I just had so many summertime girls that I fell in love with. And
I lived down the shore though one summer. Katie Evelyn's parents had a house, or still do.
Don't tell me Katie was in Ocean City too.
Oh yeah, Katie's on 31st.
Oh my god.
In Central.
I'm a
so
fucking
it was
loser.
Katie and I and our friend Piper. Aaron Piper, the one who called Piper.
I miss Piper?
You missed Piper. By the way, Piper is a blast. You would have loved Piper. But she now lives in Florida. But
my mind is blown right now.
Mm-hmm.
It helps that at least you were with your husband at that point. I think about missed opportunities. Can I tell you seriously? I ran into Steph Hughes. Steph Hughes came into my Wawa a couple times when I was at 34th Street, and had a huge crush on Steph Hughes because it was this infamous calculus class with mostly girls named Steph, and Katie was in that class. I sat behind Katie in that class. That's when I fell in love with
Katie. A crush?
Oh, Katie's a huge crush. Katie has like a huge entry in my yearbook.
Oh, really?
Because we had like a whole, we had a thing where
Katie's awesome.
Katie was one of the first girls to tell me that I was funny.
Oh.
And it used to drive me crazy because I never had girls actually enjoy conversation with me. Because I was also aggressive, right?
Yeah.
I made you cry, so that never really stopped.
You really did. I can't wait to tell my daughter that story, because one day she's gonna come home crying.
It's 100%
I have told that
true.
story to so many people, never knowing I'd be here to tell you it. But mainly to be like, well, my mom once told me if a guy makes you cry or is mean to you, it's because he likes you.
It's 100% true.
I didn't know it was true. My mom just told me it, I think, to make me stop crying at the time.
So I want to, I don't know how to ask it, but like, you in my head, and I'm jaded in this because you were a crush, and I gave up the crush because I just felt like it was so out of my reach. But then, like, as you're talking about just like life, and it's like, you were in a country club and you didn't want to really hang out with people from Wissahickon so much as like high school was going on, and you hated high school and you hung out with people from other school.
I wasn't a fan. Yeah, it's not a spot I want to go back to. I would never say, oh my gosh, I want to go back to high school. It
puts you, like, in my eyes, right? It puts you in like this like realm of just like so out of reach that, when I talk to other people, people are like, oh, you could have approached me. The way that you describe your mentality, I feel like it was so unapproachable.
Possibly. I don't know.
And again, I was joking about like aggressive, but
there are some people that are probably going to watch this later and find this like the fact that you're saying aggressive so funny, because I argue it all the time. But yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I don't know. It feels like, even more so, it feels like you're saying that you were cooler than the cool kids. No. Almost.
I left Wissahickon like parties because I got caught. And I had to find fun otherwise. Yeah. Because I was so scared. And so I would never like... Okay, it was funny. I started throwing parties myself. So actually, senior prom, I threw the party at my house for everybody that couldn't go down the shore. So, I mean, I did all those kind of things. I don't know. I just... I think it was more being scared and having to move away from Wissahickon parties
Yeah.
because there was a better chance of getting caught for something. And I wasn't going to stop drinking and having fun and doing all those things. That wasn't me.
So you liked partying. You liked drinking and
Mhm.
partying and being.
Still do. So moving on in college, I was social chair of my sorority. So I planned every party for us. I was social chair of my soccer team.
At Penn State, that's a lot.
Penn State.
To be social chair at Penn
Of a
State.
sorority. Oh my gosh, yes.
Huge. Yeah.
I had a lot of pressure on me to have like really fun formals. And it was like one of those things. So I remember one at Penn State, we had snow tubing, drunk snow tubing. We sent 2 people to the hospital that night. So in liability, this was back before lots of liability.
Yeah.
I don't even know what world's like anymore. But I'm glad I'm not there now. But back then, social chair and president were liable for everybody that came to a party. I didn't really realize that until a little later into like my position. But I remember the snow tubing one. I have a keg of beer in the back of a bus at the bottom of the hill. I had no fun this whole entire time because I was just so nervous. And I don't think I went down the hill once. My friends talk about it though as if it was the greatest night ever.
Yeah.
We had 2 people that went to the hospital, totally fine, but I don't remember why. Yeah, we threw some really fun parties that I couldn't enjoy because of responsibilities. I probably could have. Most people probably would have. I just couldn't.
No one would have cared.
Yeah,
You're the organizer.
I was the organizer. Formals, and this is why, so I got married in Costa Rica.
Oh.
So yeah, we got married in Costa Rica, mainly because I knew how controlling I was on so many other avenues of my life that I didn't want to be in the U.S. where I had to make decisions on things. So I literally showed up the day of the wedding to my wedding planner who had everything done. So there was no stress because if I planned it, I wouldn't have wanted to go. Mm-hmm. And I knew that about myself. So we went to Costa Rica, got married there. We had Paige came out. I think Paige was the only one from high school.
That's surprising to me. So I would think from everything that you've talked about, I would think almost high maintenance.
Oh, incredibly high maintenance.
Yeah. Okay. So
but not at the same time. I'm also very laid back at the same time.
I'm surprised you would give up that control.
I needed to. Oh, well, I was the one. So it was also had to deal with, I also didn't want, I didn't want to wear, I didn't want a formal wedding. I wanted a beach wedding.
Why?
And I didn't want my dad to invite his friends that I didn't know who they were. Cause he's at that point he was, I'm going to use the word as a socialite. He had people he wanted to invite that I didn't know. And that wasn't a wedding I wanted. My husband is not a suit and tie kind of guy. At all. No, he owns a seafood business.
Yeah, he looks like Carson Wentz a little bit.
He does. So the championship parade? Yeah. Championship parade, he actually was approached. Yes. He was approached. He came down on his own. I don't remember who he met up with, but approached a couple times during it. I said, can we get just a photo with you? And he was like, okay. No, so he was not that person. So I'm the one that picked Costa Rica. We had already been there about 3-4 times. It was our favorite place. And it ended up being the best decision. If anybody is getting married anytime soon, get out of the country. Destination wedding is by far the best way to go. Because it's not a day. Ours was a week vacation with our friends. We had a vacation with everybody. It was so much fun. We sat at the pool the day after because it was BYOB to our wedding. Not everybody else brought, but we brought the liquor. So we took it with us that night. So the next morning, we brought it to the pool. Yeah. So we had another huge party, and there's a huge picture of everybody just so they were about at where we rented out a whole hotel, and it was a blast.
I did a wedding before, not this past Labor Day, but the Labor Day before, 2019, I guess.
Yeah.
I did a destination for me at least, in Tahoe.
Oh.
They lived in San
I've
Fran.
Never been to Tahoe. I want to go so bad.
It was cool. We camped for a week, and it was basically
it's a vacation for everybody else.
Yeah, they rented this empty area that had a pavilion and had a house in the back, so the older family members and family with kids could stay, and then everyone else stayed at this kind of a hotel resort, but the immediate friends and everyone stayed in tents in this area, just in this grassy thing. We did that for 6 days, and it was basically Burning Man.
Yeah.
We brought everything. We drove a 21-foot truck
from here.
From California.
Yeah, but see, you had to it wasn't just a wedding. It was a
It
vacation. It
was
was
a
an
whole,
experience.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah. And
I
it
mean,
was,
Paige brings up the trip all the time. So it's our 10-year anniversary this February, and I was talking to her yesterday, and she's like, "That was her first vacation with her now husband." So she remembers it, and she's like, "Oh, I would have gone back because we were going to go back for our 10-year and bring everybody. It was like going to be an open invitation. If I had enough people, I had already reached out to the wedding planner and been like, let's throw another party,
yeah.
like just because I like to throw parties." And we
Me
were going to
too.
go to a different part of Costa Rica, and again, I didn't care like the cost. I just thought it would be so much fun. So we might try for the 11th. Or we got married on February 11th, 2011. So I feel like I can still pull off the 11th one and not it be weird. I don't know. I really wanted for the 10, but it's not happening.
I want to ask you, when you're not dating and other people are dating, like what's going through your mind as you're not dating in high school?
And like Colleen's with Dan and Paige is
yeah,
with
all of your friends are
Malmore.
dating, and I mean, like, is there a point that you've got to know you're Chrissy Krauss, right? Like you're blonde, and you're like tan, and like you're pretty.
Yeah, in
Are
high school,
you
these aren't things that people like
really?
have confidence with. No, I mean when there comes a point where no, I don't know. No, I would never like think like
You're
that.
not thinking
No.
like what's going on here?
No. I mean, I don't know. I don't remember, so I can't honestly
Yeah.
answer that. No, I don't know. I'm like trying to think of like other people. I mean, I obviously probably had like crushes on people or try to date people. I don't know. I don't know. I really can't answer it. I apologize.
Can you see from my perspective where like girl that had a crush on and you just think, oh, she must like the instant thought is she must be doing something so much better, cooler. She's must be dating guys, right? That's like the typical like, and then, but it's like, no,
And then you find out you're like,
no. I was like waiting for guys to ask me to dances and just like,
no, I never.
I gave
Over high
up,
school,
you know, like that just.
No, I don't remember. I remember, so I brought, even like the senior year, I brought Kyle Cleary to our prom or one of the formals, and he was from LaSalle. Like I even brought somebody from outside. He was really good friends with Dan Cassidy and Eric Nelson. Like he went to, he was friends with all those guys. But no, I ended up bringing somebody. That's what I'm saying. Like I was never asked. I don't know.
Were you, I want to ask this as like delicately or as like politely, were you like hooking up with guys like in high school or not because you weren't partying with people in with people from Wisconsin? Were you like being social?
Yeah, like I mean, like I would go to like some of the parties, like so, and I think that's part of my disconnect even after high school, like and why I didn't stay in touch with people is I mean, as like Chrissy was saying, like Natalie, I knew always had like parties, and I never felt like I wasn't welcome at anything because Colleen would always be there, or like Paige, actually more like Colleen, I would say, like definitely was part of any in crowd. So I never, and she was one of my best friends, and I never actually felt like I needed to always be invited. Like if I went with her, I was always fine. And Dan Cassidy threw majority of the parties at his mom's house. So it was never like I felt I wasn't invited somewhere. I'm sure I did back then, but I was comfortable with it. I think I just pulled away mainly after getting caught drinking. And it was easier to go out in other crowds. And I had two best friends to this day, even one at Gwynedd and all the LaSalle guys and Gwynedd girls and what have you. And then Happer Horsham that I probably every weekend would be like, what are you guys doing first? And if they weren't doing anything fun, then I would go to the other side. But I definitely, football weekends, I think I went senior year maybe to one Wissahickon football game. I went to all LaSalle games.
So you didn't have like FOMO or anything like that?
No, I definitely was still going out and doing stuff. Yeah, I wasn't.
But you weren't like.
And I was trying to date the other places, like the other people.
That's what I mean, like FOMO in the sense that you weren't what's going on at Wissahickon in that crowd. You just really weren't into it.
Then I just, at one point, I just wasn't part of the in crowd there. I didn't feel comfortable that I was like, but I feel comfortable in this crowd. So I don't know. I think you go in high school where you're more accepted. I don't know, or where maybe you're more popular. You know what I mean? But like you could be more popular in one place than another. You're going to go the other side.
So do you think you weren't? So like I look at you as like, right, like popular because you were like right in my head.
Yeah.
But like you didn't look at yourself as like you didn't look at yourself as like popular amongst your friends in that way.
No, I mean, I knew I was part of like the more in crowd.
Sure.
I mean, just from the friends that I had. But no, I wasn't like, I knew I could have probably been in either side if I wanted to be. But I guess I pulled more away from the Wissahickon side. And sometimes I like regretted it because I think back and like some people I wish I was still in touch with today would have been like Eric Nelson. Like he was such a good friend for so long. And to this day, I feel like if I saw him, we would probably connect.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen him in years.
Right.
Funny thing is, he became best friends with Katie Dionato, who's one of the people I mentioned from Gwynedd.
Yeah.
And they became good friends. And I was like, it's really funny that like they were so close.
Yeah.
And Katie and I have been best friends since 4th grade. Or since we were 4, I'm sorry. So it's like one of those like small things, like obviously connections of personalities go together.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just interesting. But again, I feel like if there was like a reunion, that would be the crowd that I would like go and hang out with. And
yeah.
see.
Just interesting.
But I never stayed in touch. After high school, I stayed in touch with nobody. Like Paige, Colleen, Katie went to high school with me. And Molly. I was really, really close with Molly Foose.
It feels like the
and Kyle Spees,
friendships from high school seem almost superficial, and that like as soon as you were like going to college, like you had like the friends that you had, and just like everyone else that existed in that crew of like the cool kid crowd.
And they all stayed close though.
That's my point.
That's why
you don't feel that connect, but they all like a lot of them all still hang out, and I know you still got, and I know you still got like 6 people, but left where? You left.
I went to Penn State and I just never came back.
Where Will Laval went, where Katie went, where like I could name like 19 people that went to Penn State from Wissahickon. Like
Katie was the only one I fully stayed in touch with. Bethany Smith, again, freshman year for a little bit, obviously. But no, I went there to sort of
like it was Penn State, like literally,
and I didn't stay
like
with Katie.
9% of the population from Wissahickon went to Penn State.
And Katie and I decided not to live together on purpose because we wanted to find our own friends.
Smart,
it just so happened we joined the same sorority. It wasn't planned. The girl that I mentioned before, Strauss, was part of this sorority. So I did the soccer team, club soccer. But so I just wanted to play soccer. So my dad bribed me to play college golf. Like literally any car you want. Like it was out there. That's how much I didn't want to play. I gave up a freaking car. And at that point, I wanted a red Eclipse convertible. Like, I remember exactly what I wanted. I mean, it would have been a cool car. Nowadays, I don't even know if they're on the
Ford
road.
Eclipse?
Probably.
Convertible.
Yeah. That was the car that I would have gotten.
Okay.
Anyway, he couldn't even bribe me to play anywhere. That's how much I was out. I just wanted to play soccer. But I didn't want to go to D3 school, which was my level. So I went to Penn State. And Penn State's D1 is the elite. Like, they're good. But their club team, we won nationals my freshman year. So we were like a D3 school playing on a national level. And we would travel around the country. But it was club. So we ran our own team. We paid for our own team. We hired our own coaches. It was perfect for what I wanted and needed.
Yeah.
So I practiced every day. Senior year, I was like president of the team, captain of the team, social chair of the team. But like I think we coached ourselves almost because we couldn't find a coach. So there was a lot to it, but it was different because everybody playing there's still tryouts and everything, but it was everybody that wanted to play. You're not there on a scholarship. You're not there on anything else. You had to pay to be part of it. And we were good. Like we competed and we would play D3 teams. Like that was some of our schedule were just D3 teams. So I still got to play soccer. But at the same time, a lot of the girls on my team were part of the Pi Phi sorority. So we were like the sorority that went with the soccer team. So I was, so my freshman year, I was technically like dirty rushed to join Strauss, this girl I was talking about
What does that mean, dirty rushed?
So I didn't really go through the real parameters. That they were just like, oh, you're Strauss's friend. Like come to these couple things and you'll be part of us. Because I missed everything because of soccer. And it was fun. I'm glad I did the sorority side too, because it was like 2 different groups of friends. Again, whoever I felt like hanging out with that night, we always each side had a party. I planned a lot of them on both sides and it was fun. Like there was always something to do. So I hung out with the athletes because even on club soccer, we hung out with the wrestling team a lot. We would hang out with the soccer guys a lot. And then on the sorority side, we hung out with the frat guys a lot. So I always kept, I guess, every door open. Like I was not one to like pigeonhole myself into anything. And that goes with my personality, I think, a lot.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So I did the sorority thing. I did the soccer thing. So I was like the jock, but I also did the sorority girl. And it was sort of worked out. I don't know. And then I had my job. I worked for Ryan Holmes right out of college, but I had the job lined up in October, my senior year. So come senior year, it was just fun because the job was there. And
You already knew.
I already knew what I was doing. Just sort of had to keep my grades up and everything. And then a week out of college, I started the job and lived in Ocean City. So, I mean, things weren't, I guess, that hard. Like, you know what I mean? Everything sort of like fell into place.
Fell into place, yeah.
So it was nice. So I feel like we need to go back and talk about Mrs. Roebuck's class.
I was
Thinking the same thing?
Chrissy.
So a couple things there. Do you remember the pen pals we had in New York?
Yes. Yes.
I think about that
Queens.
all the time. Yes. And we went there.
Yes.
And I had a little girl.
Oh
and we would like literally write to them. It was Mrs. Roebuck was a great teacher. I don't know what she's doing now, but I truly loved her.
Can't find her yet.
Somebody did recently because I feel like I don't remember who told me. I don't remember the situation. Anyway, so I remember that we took a bus up. I remember like playing like double dutch in their like playground, and we like walked their school.
It was like an AstroTurf like playground.
Yeah.
Yes.
Different world. And I think she was such a good teacher to like honestly bring us there to see their world to a degree. I don't know. It was I thought that was really cool. That was the one thing about her class. The second thing, I was by far teacher's pet. Every teacher I had. Like I don't know. Loved it. Ivan Santana, I think I might be saying his name wrong. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Santana.
Yvonne, yes, thank you. He and I had such a competition about being the best student.
Yeah, Yvonne was a prick.
He would cry sometimes if I beat him.
Yeah, I could see that.
On a test. Oh, I'm dead. I'm actually
Shout out
serious.
to Yvonne. No, I could see it. Absolutely.
It was
Shout out
a
to Yvonne.
thing.
We're Facebook friends now. But
Oh, yeah. But I remember him getting so upset if I like beat him on like a grade on a test. And like it was maybe it was a healthy competition. Maybe it wasn't. But like, Mrs. Roebuck would always send me to cook up her popcorn. You guys were talking about popcorn?
Yes. Okay. I'm not crazy.
She sent me. I remember, maybe she sent other people too. I remember being sent on a daily basis to go cook up her popcorn in the teacher's lounge.
Oh, okay.
I was sent to the teacher's lounge to do it. So I don't know where the other microwaves were.
Mrs. Otto had one.
Yeah, I went to the teacher's lounge. I don't know. Somehow I got in there. Would cook her popcorn. Then she would share it with everybody in the class.
Yep.
She was such a great teacher. Loved her.
I want microwave popcorn right now.
You want some popcorn? I'm not a fan of popcorn.
Yeah, so when I brought that up and Chrissy was like, I don't remember that. Like, I remember that was
You said that and I was like, oh, I remember.
That was
almost every day.
Yes.
Or she would bring in chocolate snacks, like chocolate bars for us. She just had this, but there was listening position. That's where I learned like you had to have your hands in your lap. She was very strict at the same time.
Yeah.
But she was like, she demanded respect in her own like way. I don't know. She was amazing teacher.
So I remember so many things about that class, like the field trip, absolutely, but like snack time with not just like the popcorn, but like we listened to music together. Yeah, we all listened to music, and I remember like Brandon Deese brought in like his vinyl of Michael Jackson.
Such a dancer,
music.
wasn't he?
He was a dancer. He danced in the town show.
I remember that as soon as you said his name. Haven't heard that name 20 years.
Yeah,
I remember. Yeah, was he in our class?
Yeah.
Okay.
In our graduating class?
No, I know that. But I mean in our Mrs. Roebuck's class.
Yeah. That was his first year. He just moved there.
Gotcha.
From Massachusetts. From
I don't remember who else was in the class.
Like, I don't. So we had Holly Beck. I've interviewed.
That was when I was probably friends with Holly.
I've interviewed a lot of our fourth grade class. Holly Beck, Kim Devaney.
Kim and I were friends then too.
Chris Warren.
Okay.
Ashley McLaughlin.
Okay.
Ann Patterson.
Okay. Ann was in our class?
Yep. That was the foursome. It was Holly. So I remember. Do you remember going to Crayola
so
Factory?
Ann and I, yes. Ann and I didn't become close then. Ann and I probably got close after that because I don't remember Ann back then. I remember being friends with Kim. Well, Kim and I played soccer together.
Oh, yeah.
Holly, I feel like played soccer with us a little bit too. But I remember there was a point in time I was good friends with Holly too. And I remember exactly where she lived at one point. Like I remember being at her house, like weird, like, you know, like weird memories. Kim, I remember she lived along the train track. I remember going to her house. But Kim, I think, played soccer with us. Definitely her sister did.
Okay.
Who else was in the class?
I know the names. It's coming in Mikala. Do you remember her? Do you remember that girl?
Yes.
All I remember was that she dressed like a Native American for Halloween, and I gave her a whole bunch of shit because that's what I used to do. I used to just attack. I give you shit about aggression, like.
So in 5th grade, I can't remember who the girl was. She told me I looked like a witch.
Dan Donahue, Chris Rogers.
Okay. I remember in 5th grade, I cannot. If you said her name, I would know it. But there was no reason you're going to say her name. But
5th grade.
5th grade, but in Mrs. Rogers' class, she told me.
Little known fact, by the way, I was supposed to have Mrs. Rogers' classes. I was always told, and I got put in Miss Rowe for some weird reason, and I retired that bitch.
Yeah, I heard you say that.
Yeah, I shut her down.
Mrs. Rogers was great.
That's what I had always heard.
Back. She brought her birds in all the time. She was like this crazy bird lady.
That's what I had heard, and I'll be honest, like I remember this very clearly.
Steve DeSantis was in my class.
I remember wanting it because I remember
George Cortez.
I remember you had it, and I was like, Chrissy Krauss in Mrs. Rogers' class. I'm supposed to, but I had class with Bethany. That was pretty sweet too.
Yeah. No, but whoever it was told me I looked like a witch because I had this pointy nose, and she like drew a picture of me, and like it's again something that like haunts me forever.
That's what makes you so pretty.
So funny. Thank you. But no, it was funny things you remember. But anyway, Mrs. Roebuck's class was awesome. She was by far an amazing teacher. She's the only one that did the pen pal thing. Like she like took it on her own, I think.
What about the 4th grade states? What about the states project? I still got the tape. I'm going to break out the tape at some point.
What is this?
Do you not remember when we did the report on 4th grade states? We had to pick like 3 states, and then we went to the high school and filmed.
Actually, yes, and we went and filmed. Oh my gosh!
I bond with these things with you. Bond with these things.
So the funny thing is I have this song, and I don't know what class I learned it in. Was like the state names. And I sung it for people before, and they're like, "Oh my god!" But it's like the Alabama, Alaska, Arizona. I feel like that's Mrs. Roebuck.
Yeah, it's like North Carolina, South Carolina's North Carolina, South. Class. It's amazing but true. Well, shut your mouth. In Texas, oil wells flow like.
Oh, I didn't know that much. No, my version is just the states, and it was the way to remember the states, and it was like a song like that. But I feel like only Mrs. Roebuck would have taught it to me, so I had to have been her.
I've got the tape.
I did Hawaii. As soon as you said that, I was like, I definitely did Hawaii.
Yeah.
I had like a fun state.
We had 3.
So I
did Oklahoma. I think I maybe did Oregon. I maybe did Illinois.
She's such a good teacher. I don't know what she did. Hopefully she went on and do great things.
I have a friend that worked at Shady Grove that I think she like got booted out. So I want to ask you about this.
I can see her getting booted out because of her own ways and probably not putting up with stuff.
Let me ask you this, because you come from, it sounds like you come from a wealthy family. That's how it sounds. I don't mean that in like a negative way.
I mean, I never needed anything in life. Yes.
Yeah, when you talk about like the country clubs and right, and then the house at the
my parents
in
have
the
3
Poconos,
homes. Yeah,
right,
exactly.
all that. I imagine that the majority of your world was white.
Oh yeah.
What's that like? Was Mrs. Roebuck your first black teacher? Had to have been. I don't think there were black teachers in Shady Grove.
Oh no, Miss Quinto was.
Mrs. Roebuck was like the first black teacher in Shady Grove. Period.
Probably. Mrs. Shanley, definitely white. Mrs. Hastings, Mrs. London, and then Mrs. Roebuck. Yeah.
I mean, I don't expect you to necessarily remember this, but do you have like feeling about like, because we learned about like black history and all those things, and Mrs. Roebuck was a different type of teacher, and I talked with someone, I can't remember who it was, but like the idea of like having a black teacher and white students who aren't used to who don't have black parents, and the way that she used to.
I don't think then even affected me or. Yeah, I think I actually just loved her, and it was.
I talk about like now where I feel like parents are so much more involved in the way that their children are disciplined in school and things like that, and so I imagine someone that I think the impression that I have now is that now she ran into problems in the last like 10 years where people didn't like the way that she taught.
Possibly.
And so I just wonder.
Which is horrible.
Right, but I wonder back then, like, the way that she talked to me, I didn't necessarily like, but there was nothing I could do about it because the way that my parents raised me, I deserve to be talked to. I deserve to be kind of treated in that way, not in like a.
Well, how'd she talk to you?
Not me.
What do you mean?
You know better type of thing. Like, she talked to me like my dad fucking talked to me. She talked to me like.
She didn't talk to us like we were kids. She talked to us like she expected great things when you were an adult.
And that's not common with white teachers, I find.
Okay.
What I find is like
I think that's why I also loved her though. Like, I don't know. She like was like, you guys aren't kids anymore. You need to grow up and I'm gonna treat you like an adult if you can act like I don't know. Like I don't know.
I guess the way I guess I look I think I assume that white kids or just white people in general have a feeling when black people talk to them or look at them a certain way in a fear or an angry way type of thing. And that's what I imagine happened kind of with Mrs. Roebuck.
I mean,
to where she's
definitely not with me, but I possibly.
So I guess that's where I'm just always like people that come from all these different backgrounds that have so many different like thoughts and feelings and beliefs as they become adults. But then when they look back at this, she was a hard-nosed teacher, black or white. She was a very hard-nosed teacher.
She expected great things from her class. Yeah,
I guess.
And she even said that all the time. Like, I remember that. And that was like listening position. If you're not in it, like she'd put up with nothing.
It was
I think it's where I sort of
at
strived
times.
though, because I loved the discipline and I loved like the correction and I don't know.
So you weren't like put off by being
I was 100% her
like
teacher's pet.
way.
Oh no, I was a teacher's pet.
That's
there.
cool.
Oh no, I think she loved me in her class. Like I have great memories. I don't have any bad memories of that class.
I've got to find her. Everyone loved her.
Yeah, I just remember the very strong competition in grading.
What do you mean?
With Ivan.
Oh, with Yvonne.
Yvonne. I keep calling his name wrong. Sorry, Yvonne. Yeah, and that being like
I'm
a
gonna
thing.
have to reach out to Yvonne now.
Yeah, I do remember that.
I feel like he went to like LaSalle or GA.
I think he did. Yeah, because he definitely wasn't in high school. No, I mean I was a teacher's pet in every way and form in every class I was in. Wow. That was just what I did. I don't know if that's how I just got by. I don't know.
On purpose? Was that like a thing?
No, I feel like it's even like to this day. Like you figure out who's like the authority and you know, become friends and life is easier for you. If
buttered up.
Exactly.
Mrs. Roebuck
it's an easier way to get through life if you're friends with the person who's in charge. Does that make sense?
Mrs. Roebuck used to call my house.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
She definitely did not call my house unless it was to say like nice things.
I was aggressive.
Yeah. You got in trouble.
I was chasing girls around the schoolyard.
Literally.
I can't believe you don't remember
I
this.
have no recollection of that. I remember, so my greatest things like of recess, kickball, because I was really good at it and I loved competing against guys. I hated recess or gym where we were separated, boys and girls.
Yeah.
Because I hated playing with the girls. That's, again, competitive side.
Yeah.
I loved it in high school when we just so happened to be together because they split us up, girls and guys in high school for gym. I don't know if you remember. And I loved it when we would all get together. I
hated gym in high school. I hated it. I
hated
was so
it because I found it to be below me. How horrible that sounds. Because I was in sports and we'd be playing stupid games and half the girls didn't even want to play and they weren't athletic. And I was like, this is a waste of my time.
Let me ask you this.
Again, the aggressive side, competitive side. I just wanted to go play with the guys. So the days we'd play baseball together, kickball together, I loved it. And it was probably like me wanting to be like, show off a little bit. I don't know. Oh, I'm an athlete. Let's play together. I don't know.
Can I say this about gym? I hate gym. And a lot of people I've interviewed have talked about this. We didn't shower. So you actually did sports where I assume you then went home and showered.
Yeah. I would imagine. I have no idea, but yes.
But like high school gym, and then you don't shower. What the fuck? Am I right?
Depending on what you're doing, of course.
Anything.
And like
mat ball,
everybody's like
basketball,
smelly
hockey.
Then. Yeah. We all were just smelly. Adolescents.
I felt like I was the only one.
I mean, I don't remember these things, but possibly, yeah.
You say we were all smelly.
Everybody had to have been.
I don't know. I that's why I was wondering. Like,
I mean, I was a sweaty kid,
do?
so I mean, to this day,
I'm still sweaty.
Yeah. So I don't know how I wasn't sweaty back then.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm sure I was self-conscious about it once upon a time, but not the things I think about now.
I still think about it. Well, now this is what I do. So.
No, I remember the lock. I don't remember. Never taking a shower. Ever.
Never did. What about like for sports? Did you take like showers in the actual girls' locker room? Did you have showers in the girls'? I'd never been in there.
I don't know.
Showers in the girls' locker room?
I don't know.
The guys had showers in the locker room.
Maybe I never took a shower. I would put on my sweats and just leave. But I mean, I was a sweaty kid. So I mean, definitely after basketball practice, I'd put on my sweats and go home and shower at home. I don't know.
This bothers
maybe
me
this is
so
maybe this is why I didn't have any boyfriends.
because you smelled.
Because I was such a smelly, sweaty kid.
Blows my mind. It like depresses me, and like, you know, it's just eye opening of how improperly people view things, or, you know, just completely out of the realm of reality, which I was circling.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
everybody having their own vision, and like, this is the way we do stuff. And
to live in reality, there was no scenario where I could have asked you out in high school and you would have said yes.
I don't know. I don't remember back.
There is no scenario where that would have happened. What did you ever get asked out by guys where you turned them down? You don't have to say names.
I don't know. I don't remember any.
Do you not remember? Do you remember ever being like pined after?
No.
Wow. That breaks my heart, because that's how that is.
I mean, let me put it this way. Not from Wissahickon. I remember some guys from like LaSalle.
Yeah.
But not Wissahickon.
Not in Wissahickon. You weren't like, you didn't feel like you were like.
No, I think that's also why I didn't hang out with, I felt, I guess, more popular in the other crowds. And I think that's probably why I went the other way. Yeah. I was like, oh, people like me here more. So I'm going to go there.
Wow. I feel like that's like a lesson to be learned for kids like nowadays.
Yeah, don't cut yourself short.
Yes.
You know? Shoot for the stars.
Shoot for the stars.
No, I mean,
did you have
it's very flattering, but no.
Did you have a type? Like, were you into like a certain type of a guy? Were you into like an athletic type, or a nerdy type?
So my husband is like, we would have never dated in high school, but I would have gone to all of his parties. So he was like that bad guy, like the bad boy through the parties. His dad didn't care, you know, that kid. And you know who I had a crush on that reminds me a little bit of it was Doug King.
Yeah.
And they remind me a little bit of each other, but I don't think I ever really hung out with Doug. He and I were in homeroom all together. I think we possibly like talked about maybe going to prom together, and he was like, no. Like, I think it was one of those. No. So I think it's, people always say like they date like, or there'll be somebody like their father I am married to the complete opposite of my father. But in high school, Dan and I talk about it, like we would have been friends. We 100% wouldn't have dated.
Why?
He almost was suspended from school a million times. He was like that bad boy.
But you were kicked off the
I know, but
team.
I never had detention. I think senior year, I didn't miss a day of school either. I think I got like perfect attendance. I was such a nerd. I was such a nerd that I came across a different way only because I played sports. But I was a goody two-shoe nerd, and
but you liked to party.
I wanted everybody to like me.
But you liked to party, and you didn't like everyone else.
Yeah. I don't know. So that's why I like let loose. I let loose in college. Like everything just came together.
That's fucking great.
No, I remember like stealing alcohol from my dad. Like, I don't know. Like I wanted to drink and have fun, but I didn't know how to do it. I think that's then why I went to college. And my brother was in a fraternity I'll never forget it. First week of freshman year in college, my older brother in one of the popular fraternities. I had just made friends. Literally, we're in a circle freshman year. First day, I met these 3 girls on my floor. And the way I made friends with them, I was like, hey, my brother's having a fraternity party tonight. Do you guys want to come with me? Mm-hmm. So I was the girl. From day one, I was the one that brought people to the party.
Right.
And that was just always. And to this day, I don't think many people call me to go out. I'm always calling them. Like, I feel like you have to control your own life. And if you want to have fun, you need to initiate it.
Yeah.
Very rarely does it go the other way. Very rarely does somebody call and be like, hey, let's go to have drinks. It's usually I'm initiating because I plan so far. I'm a planner. So I plan so far in advance. I'm like, oh, I'm doing X, Y, and Z. Let's get together. So sometimes that bothers me that I'm like, oh, why don't more people reach out? But I've just said you can create your own fun. So many times, I think back on like many nights that I've gone out recently, and it's usually me initiating the invite, which is fine because again, I'm a party planner, and that's how you have fun. And if I want to have fun, so my husband and I throw the New Year's Eve party. We're the ones that throw the huge party every year at our house because we want to have fun and we know what we want, and every year. It's at our house. And many times our house is normally the party house of all of our friends because we don't care.
Yeah.
Don't expect to have good food or decorations, but we'll have alcohol. You can do what you want, but it's not like a classy party by any means. We party in our unfinished part of the basement. We don't even let you hang out in the nice part of the house.
It's like
we push you to the basement.
It's like Sylvia and Wizard
Our beer pong is in the unfinished part of the basement.
Yeah.
But it's always there. So I don't know. I just feel like I found my own way to have fun. But yeah, so I was more into like the bad boys, but I didn't really know it at the time. And yeah, I don't know. That was probably more my type.
Yeah, I wasn't a bad boy.
But then I kept dating these preppy boys from LaSalle, and I was like,
See, wait, so in college or high school?
High school.
So you were dating LaSalle guys.
I would go after, yes, I guess, yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't remember dating any of them. I remember going to a lot of formals with even my brother's friends, and he hated it. But yeah, I don't know.
When you were coming up to like the college time, what did you think you wanted to do?
I mean, there was no choice in our family. It was college. So I only applied to 3 colleges. Penn State, where my parents both went. My brother was already at. I didn't want to go there because my mom's best friend lives up there. So we've gone our whole life all the time to Penn State games. And I loved it, but I wanted something different. I wanted to be my own person. My aunt and uncle lived up there.
Okay.
So, I mean, I had people. And I was like, I want that because I loved the town. I loved the atmosphere. But I wanted to be on my own.
Yeah.
So I applied to UVA and UNC, really reach schools.
Oh,
so
wow.
Penn State was like the
my uncle teaches at UVA.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, loved it.
Charlottesville's great.
So we went and like looked at all of them. I liked UNC the best because they also had like that like downtown area. I didn't get into UVA and UNC, which was sort of good because I think I would have gone there. But I'm so happy I went to Penn State. Like I have no regrets about going there. I just wanted to be a little different.
What do you mean you thought it was good that you didn't go?
I'm glad I didn't get in because it would have been a totally different life. I would have not had the connection with my brothers, and because we all went to Penn State, both brothers. I mean, my whole family went to Penn State, and then we had a family there, and it was.
Would it have been horrible if you started a different?
No, but I'm glad I went on the path I did. I have no regrets.
Okay.
Is what I'm saying.
Okay.
I can't imagine how life would have been somewhere else. I mean, Paige went to Duke, so I'm sure we would have connected more down there.
It took her. Oh, did she? She did go right away. Yeah,
and then she went to Penn State for her graduate.
Right.
But she hated Penn State.
Yeah.
And it's so funny when we talk about it. I'm like, how'd you hate Penn State? But we were there at different times.
She was much older.
She wasn't even there when Rich was there, my older brother, because he went back for his grad school because they were really close. So Paige was really, really close with my family, even to this day. She always calls him like her stepbrother and stuff like that. Like just a very close relationship. And if he was at grad school while she was there, I think she might have had like a little more fun, like maybe hung out a little bit with him and his friends. But I think she just did her thing and moved on. She was there honestly for school.
Yeah.
And that was it. Where I was there for the experience, and I went to class. I did very well.
You were younger too.
Yeah. I like went to courses and did well, and
What was your major?
Marketing.
Marketing.
With a minor, I think, in management. So yeah.
So how do you pick that when you're in high school?
Yeah, I never changed.
How do you pick that?
I mean, it was business administration, I think, as you start, and then you have to pick something, I think, a year or two in. I don't know. I just always knew. I knew I always want to do something probably on the selling marketing side. I knew I always had a personality where I could talk with people and sell stuff, whatever it was. And now I sell new homes. So that's what I do for a living. So I sell new construction homes.
Oh, wow.
So I don't sell small stuff. I sell big stuff. And the way I got into selling for Ryan Homes right out of college was a guy came into our selling class. Like literally was a sales class, and started talking about working at Ryan. Like he worked there, and I don't know what it was. And I was like, I'm going to interview. And then I ended up getting a job. So I worked there for 5 years, took a year off, worked for my husband's company. That's the year we got married. It was called the year of Chrissy. It was the most liberating, beautiful year of my life.
I hate your calling yourself that.
I loved it. Oh, Christy.
Christy.
Yeah. It was the year of Christy.
Who?
Yeah. The year of that person. But I worked for my husband. We got married that year. It was
you met
so
him,
relaxing.
You met him at Pence? I forget. You said
no. So we met during the summer in Ocean City.
Oh, okay.
Through a mutual friend. He went to high school with this girl, and she was in my sorority. This girl Piper that I talked about before. And then we did long distance. I went to Australia. I studied abroad in Australia.
Oh, wow.
Came back with an Australian accent. The
Like
joke
Nicole
is that
Kidman.
became like my home country.
Yeah. That happens to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Gwyneth Paltrow, when she married the dude from Coldplay, she got a British accent.
I mean, I
Alec,
was made fun of a lot for
Alec
it.
Baldwin's wife now is being accused of having a fake Spanish accent. She's not Hispanic in any way.
That much.
When did you meet?
Oh, we met when we were 20.
So you met when you were 20.
We married when we were 28.
So for 7 years,
we had a 2-year engagement.
Okay,
which was also fun.
You mean that sarcastically?
No, I actually meant it was the greatest thing ever.
Okay.
There's no reason to rush it. An engagement is so much fun. Like everybody wants to talk about it. Everybody wants to.
Yeah, you
like,
get to.
It's a highlight.
And you don't have to rush anything. Oh,
yeah,
it's coming up in like a year and a half.
And it was more my husband.
Don't worry, you'll get the invite.
Kept pushing it out, and then we decided Costa Rica, and we decided then we sent the wedding invites. I actually did a message in the bottle.
That's cool.
I'm not even creative, but I did a really good job with this. I actually rolled
Why are
up
you
the
slamming
thing.
yourself for that?
I've never been creative ever. This was during the summer where I
came up with a great idea.
It was a message in the bottle.
And you just slammed yourself for it.
I know, because it was only the only time in my life that I was creative.
This is
only
it.
time. People have kept this. Like there's
I'll
some
shut
of
up.
my friends. Yeah.
Tell us your shining
only
moment.
Time.
Tell
so
us.
Message in the bottle was maybe the invitation or the invitation. The save the date was something else. But we had to give people a huge heads up because we wanted people to come.
What did you like about it? Dave? What's his name? What's his name?
Dan.
Dan. I knew it was a D. I'm not paying that much attention to his details.
I understand.
I
wouldn't either.
What did you like about him?
What?
What did you like about him?
I mean, I don't know. It's only been 18 years.
But what was like so great? What did he have going on?
I mean, he sings, he cooks, he has a boat. The first day I met him, he was the guy that brought the beer when the party ended or was ending, and he kept the party going.
It was fun.
Yeah. So I feel like the story I do need to tell is the story of also my kids' names.
Yeah. So your kids are 5 and
15 months.
15 months.
So Willow and Alora, but Alora's real name is Alora Dannon.
Yeah. So can I just tell you?
Yeah. Do you know it?
So
because when I find like the person that really knows the history,
I'm a film major.
There you go. Then you probably know.
I went to film school.
So what's it from?
And when I was a very young kid, I went to like YMCA camp where we had this really super cool counselor that used to take us like off the campgrounds and take us to like field trips sometimes to like his friend's house.
So I mean, probably would have gotten a lot of trouble in today's world.
Sometimes there's like one specific time we went to this guy's house or girl, I can't remember. We went to like this guy's house though, and we watched a movie. And this is like how the movie like is in my head. We watched Willow.
So my husband, as I mentioned before, funny guy, and came home one day when I was pregnant. He's like, "We're gonna name this." We didn't know if we were a boy or girl yet. And he would come up with the most ridiculous names. If we had a boy, it was going to be Atreyu from the Neverending Story. Thank God we don't have any boys.
I feel so bad laughing because these are your kids.
No,
I'm not laughing.
This is a huge thing to the point I had to stop the conversation. I couldn't handle the name Atreyu. And everybody that knows us knows this story really well. It's not even hidden. He now wants somebody to name their child Atreyu. He's like, or we have a third kid. I'm like, we are not having a third child. So that's not happening.
Okay.
Atreyu from the Neverending Story. We have a dog. His name's Odin. But I was like, if we do have an Atreyu, you need a
like
Falcor.
Thor's dad?
Yes. There you go. And then there's Loki is one of his brother's dog. And I was so pissed when he named his dog Loki because I wanted to have Loki.
I thought you wanted a kid?
No, I wanted a dog. My next dog was going to be Loki. I wanted Odin, Thor, Loki, and then his brother took it. I was like,
so what's with you in sci-fi fantasy? What is
not me. Not me at all.
Your husband is 100% a sci-fi fantasy?
I just go along with it. So he came home one day thinking he was so funny with the name Willow. He's like, we're going to name him after a little person. And I was like, okay. And I was like, well, not if it's a boy. That won't work well. Like I entertain all of his little ideas. And I say it with that as an eye roll because he has a lot of really ridiculous ideas. And I was like, as a girl, I think it's really pretty. So the name Willow, 100% is named after work. She is named after work, David. And that's life. So I was pregnant again.
The Val Kilmer movie.
Val Kilmer.
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly thought we'd call her Peck.
You're
I
like
really
the
thought
only
Peck was
person-
going to pick up. Like, never happened.
Legit, you're the only person I've ever known to reference that movie Other than
It's not a good movie. It's god awful. We actually
that's what
tried
I'm
to show
fucking
Willow
saying,
it the other
Chrissy.
day.
What's going on here? Like, what's
We tried to show Willow it the other day, and she's like, "This is really
Chrissy,
bad. Turn
this
it
would
off."
be like if this was reversed and you were doing a high school podcast
Yeah.
and I'm telling you about how I convinced my wife to name our kids after wrestlers. And you would just go like, what the
Why?
fuck? Why?
But Willow she fits the name so well. She is a great little Willow.
She hasn't grown. I'm sorry. That sounds horrible I forgot you're not allowed to talk like that anymore.
Oh, I'm so glad you said it. No, in my life, in my world,
I'm gonna keep it in.
100%.
Listen,
Can you keep that?
I'm saying I'm keeping it in so that I keep it in, but I recognize
in my world,
that was wrong.
That is totally fine. So when I was pregnant the second time, again, Dan's like, "Oh, it's gonna be Atreyu. We're gonna have a boy."
What was Atreyu?
From Neverending Story.
Oh.
If we had a boy.
Why?
And he's like, "We're gonna call
because
him Trey."
he's just a big.
And to tell you the truth,
Is that Brennan? Is that
no? He just thought it was funny.
Who? What is Atreyu?
Atreyu's from Neverending Story.
Oh.
He's the boy. It's a German name. It actually
Is that
means.
Is that Brandon? What's his name?
I actually don't know that.
The heartthrob.
No, he's just some boy. Like, I don't know.
I can't. The guy who's the star, and God, this is gonna drive me fucking crazy because he looks like the guy from.
I don't think this kid actually went and did anything else. I don't know.
From Neverending Story.
My favorite part of Neverending Story is the turtle who says, "I'm allergic to humans," and he just like sneezes on him constantly. It's my favorite scene of that movie. But anyway, he was stuck on Atreyu again. Thank God we found out the sex of the baby early because I couldn't handle it. And he's like, Alora Dannon. I'm like, we're not having a child named Alora Dannon.
It's a lot of words.
But
Jonathan Brandis.
What did he go and do?
He died, but he was in Sequest.
Okay.
He was the kid,
Yes.
the kid from Sequest. Like he was a heartthrob. He was in that Chuck Norris movie Sidekicks.
He was a heart like.
Yeah, he was in Ladybugs with Rodney Dangerfield, where he has to dress like the girl to play soccer.
That's not the same person.
Yeah, it's all the same guy. He's never.
So there's a girl in that movie who everybody told me I looked like, the girl who takes her glasses off like to play soccer for the longest time in the movie Ladybugs when I was little. Yeah, you're right. That's the same guy?
Yeah, Never-ending Story. He's the
he
guy
looks
on
very different when he was little in Neverending Story.
That's him. That is him. Little. He died at like 19.
He looked different in the movie. I just watched the movie the other day. Anyway,
You watch this a lot,
we just showed it to Willow because she's heard the name of Atreyu
Chrissy.
a million
I just
times.
want to talk to you and argue with you forever.
I didn't know he was that was the same guy from Ladybugs. Anyway, so we came up with Alora Dannon. So her name is Alora Dannon, but her first name's Alora, middle name Dannon, because I refuse to have like a double name.
So you did do the name.
Oh, her name's Alora Dannon. So we call her Ellie majority of the time, but her name's Alora. So it's all from the movie Willow. All right, so that's where we came from it all. And if we ever have
because you let your husband pick the names.
Of course. It's just easier in life. Sometimes you just give in.
I
had no names. I could have cared less. And to tell you the truth, I really like the names. Like Willow
cool
is a
names.
really great name. And nobody else has these names.
I can't imagine selling it. The sell is just crazy.
When he comes in so giddy.
I'd never have the guts.
I guess you got to know Dan to understand it. But this is the other side of it. So when we were getting married, he did not want a wedding band. Okay. And to this day, he still doesn't wear one. But finally.
Yours is shiny.
Thank you.
Yeah.
He comes home one day and he's like, I got it. I will get a wedding band only if it says one ring to rule them all from Lord of the Rings.
What a fucking loser.
Exactly.
This guy. Is this solid, Chrissy? This
is serious.
All right.
So I was like, what the fuck? Like, fine. I don't care what you get engraved into your ring.
Do you think about ripcording from this whole thing?
No.
No. All right.
I reply back with, only
He's
if mine says
me.
my precious. And he's like, okay. So my wedding band says my precious. On its own is adorable. In relationship to the movie is incredibly creepy.
Is it
when
adorable?
we went to the jeweler and told them, they're like, you want what?
You guys sound like fucking nerds.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not.
Right, you're a cool
but he
kid.
came back out of nowhere. And he was just like, I don't want a wedding band unless it says that. But you said it like he was giggling when he said it. He's like, Ryan and I were talking about blah, 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 blah. I was like, you guys are ridiculous. So anyway, the day after our wedding, he goes to the pool in Costa Rica. And do you know the movie, Lord of the Rings?
I've watched the 3. I don't like them at all.
Okay.
So
So he takes the ring, throws it in the pool, and says, "Some things are best left forgotten," which is one of the sayings, and where they take the ring and throw it.
this makes me want to rewatch it. This is the first thing that makes me want to watch the movie.
He lost the ring in the pool. It's our wedding band the day after the wedding, and I was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" He has not worn. And he does it all the.
Because you're the only one that cares.
I guess
about
it's
the
an
band.
expensive ring.
Yeah, but he doesn't really care.
He cared about being married. The ring meant nothing.
Yeah, the ring meant nothing.
And he never wears it. So he would only ever wear it to weddings then. But every time he put it on, because he never wore it, he would throw it in my drink glass and would say the same thing. Some things are better left forgotten. One time, I forgot it was my glass. I gave it to the bartender. Totally forgot it was there. Realized it 15 minutes later. He's like, "Where's my ring?" And I was like, my whole body just dropped.
Turn that
last
in.
time he's worn it.
Turn
It's
that
been in our
2
safe
drinks
since.
ago.
He's not allowed to wear it again.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to melt it down and do something else with it because it's just a waste. Other than the fact it's engraved with something that is hilarious to me.
So I know we're running out of time.
Yeah. We've been chatting a while, but yeah, we're running out of time.
This is why I said I was insistent. I was like, if I can have 4, and I said it's completely selfish. If I can have 4 hours,
Yeah, we did.
I'd love to have
right?
4 hours, and we needed the entire 4 hours.
Yeah, it doesn't even seem like that long.
I need to get a pen, but I'll just let you look at the Shady Grove.
Yeah, I found this. Oh, you have a heart around it? Oh, that's so sweet. Oh, you have Colleen circled as a heart too.
I know. So that was a secret to this point. Because can I be honest? And I'll leave this in, but I don't remember Colleen being a crush. And then
funny.
And then I looked at the Shady Grove, and I was like, I guess she was.
I love how you have these hearts.
So this is now that you've looked at the other ones, this is the moment where I tell you that this is super cool because all of these have been over Zoom for the past year.
Mm-hmm.
Or past 8 months, 9 months, and no one's been able to sign my yearbook except for,
I would love to.
Except for Chrissy Shuck. And the dream of my life is to be able to have Chrissy Krauss sign my yearbook.
This one will.
We've got
20 years later.
It doesn't matter. This is what the whole podcast is about. Soccer 9, 11, 12, because 10 was just Breaking Bad.
I was Breaking Bad.
Basketball 9 through 12. Golf 9 through 12. I gotta be honest, I've never looked at this to realize that. National Honor Society 11 through 12. Varsity Club 10 through 12. Key Club 9 through 12.
I was a loser. I mean, yeah.
Key Club 9 through 12. What was Key Club?
What is Key Club?
Yeah.
No idea.
Yeah. Okay. PYEA.
A prestigious thing you maybe have?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what really was it? I have no idea.
PYEA.
National Honor Society and Varsity Club were the only ones I think I actually cared about.
PYEA.
No.
Okay. That was 11 and 12. Student Council 12.
Yeah.
PBLA 9. And Students Against Drunk Driving, which you said you're still.
You guys bash safeties. Need to talk about safety.
Oh, you're a fucking safety?
Oh, I was a captain.
Of course you were.
Colleen and I were captains.
Yeah, of course you were.
Colleen,
you just
Paige
like
and I, maybe?
you just like dry snitching on people.
We were. I remember.
Go ahead, defend it.
Who was it? Oh, we were, and I was such.
You're gonna ruin my crush right now. Go ahead.
I need to be in control of everything, so it was right up my personality. And I might have been I'm pretty sure I was a captain with Colleen and Steve DeSantis. Maybe Paige was a lieutenant, or this was a combination. I remember having to report people, but yeah, this was a hierarchy thing. You and Chrissy were talking about it.
Yeah.
They should never do that.
Oh my God. I can't tell you what that does for my soul.
It was,
Chrissy.
you think back on it, I was like, why did they put us they pinned us against each other. They picked the kids that are you're a goody two shoes. You're going to tattletale. You tell us everything that's going on.
Yes. Oh my God.
I mean, at the time, I thought it was cool as shit.
Yes.
You
wanted to be a tattletale.
world.
Yeah, the teacher just telling you
And I told you I was teacher's pet.
Yeah.
I mean,
and the teacher's
to be a captain of the
tell us everything that's going on. What are they doing? Yeah.
Oh, I was a captain. I needed to bring that up.
That makes me feel good that you actually
It
did
had
that.
to have been I knew Paige, Colleen, and I were definitely in the hierarchy, and I know Steve DeSantis was. I don't remember anybody else, and it makes sense the 4 of us would be, and a couple of us were captains or lieutenants, and I don't even know why and voted, but I think we had a run for it. Or maybe we were voted in by the teachers.
Teachers.
Probably.
By the
They're
teachers.
Like, who's going to tell us the most?
Yeah.
Not
Who's
like,
the biggest snitch?
Exactly.
Who's the biggest snitch in the school?
Which one's the biggest bitch that like is going?
I didn't say bitch. I said snitch. No, don't put that on me.
You look back on it and you're like, oh my God, I was like that person, but whatever.
Life is a journey, not a destination, and I just can't tell what tomorrow brings.
Aerosmith.
Yes.
I thought my quote. No, I looked
What
it up.
song is that?
Horrible song. I thought my quote was
Well,
Shawshank.
I need to know because I mean I'll look it up, but it's gonna be
it's
gonna be the fucking Instagram picture.
Oh, it was.
It's gonna be the Instagram post.
I need to know what photo. By the way, I need to okay the photo that you use as your photo.
All right.
But it's a horrible song by Aerosmith. I hate Aerosmith, actually. I really, truly thought if you asked me without me looking what my quote was, it would have been Shawshank. And it would have been, I've had too much drink. I say it all the time, too. Give me a second. I'll come back to it. I really never thought that was it. I actually told people all the time it was.
You quoted Shawshank?
Yeah, which I think is a great movie.
You weren't that prolific.
I was definitely not an Aerosmith loser.
Mom, Dad, thanks for believing. Rich, Eric, good
My
luck in
brothers.
all you do. Paige, you'll always be part of the family. Carl, Brooke, Kay, which I'm guessing is Katie.
Yeah.
Lizzie. Oh, Lizzie. Mal and Annie, never forget the laughs. To the rest of the crew, never stop having fun. It's crazy. You were just like best friends with all my crushes.
You know?
What a crew.
We had a crew.
What a fucking crew.
Was this good?
I don't know.
You don't go back and listen to it? No, I mean like the podcast.
Oh, the podcast? Yes. Did it not feel good?
It felt great.